this contract of sale involving a piece of land is void. Alright? So, letter D po yan. Okay? Kasi between a minor and a capacitated person, voidable yan. Alright? Voidable lang. Kapag between two insane persons who did not act during a lucid interval, unenforceable yan. Tapos, first degree kasi, wala namang problema dyan. Ito po husband and wife, bawal. Kasi, ano sabi ng batas natin? So, they cannot sell to each other unless there is a separation of property. Okay? Kapag either sa inyong marriage settlement, yung prenup nyo, or yung isa, judicial, yung pwede mo kasi gawin yun, ipa-dissolve mo na yung property regime, tapos maging separate na lang. But some point is, kailangan, govern sila ng complete separation of property. Doon lang po pwede maging valid yan. Otherwise, nagiging void. Okay? So, number 21, letter D. 22, the X, 17 years old, sold to Z, of legal age, her necklace worth 20,000 pesos for 15,000. Okay, later, Z sold the necklace to Y for 20K. Which of the following statement is correct? Now, ang answer mo dito, okay, is letter C. Okay? Now, ang ano dito, okay, ang rule natin is makikita mo sa Article 1506 ng sale. Alright? Now, kapag good faith ka kasi, kahit na, di ba dito, voidable ang title. Kasi minor yung isang party. So, voidable yan. No, iba, pang ano na lang yan, panggulo na lang sa inyo. Okay? So, minor to. Remember lang, na kapag voidable ang title mo, okay? Tapos, binenta mo. Okay? Voidable. Yung contract sa'yo, voidable. So, valid until annulled. Binenta mo yun, kapag good faith yung pinagbentahan mo, meaning hindi niya alam kung ano yung nangyari before doon. Wala siyang alam tungkol doon sa circumstances bakit naging voidable yung title. Pag lipat po sa kanya, ay valid na yun. Okay? Wala nang defect yung title niya. Kasi remember guys, ang batas natin, ganito ang rule dyan ha. The law will protect innocent third persons. Okay? The law will protect innocent third persons. So, pag good faith siya, as if wala nang defect, makukuha niya yung title na walang defect. However, yung letter C po, okay, yung letter C is the opposite. Alright? Bad faith naman siya ngayon. Okay, bad faith naman siya ngayon. Ngayon kapag bad faith siya, anong nangyari? Y will just step into the shoes of Z. Okay? So kung ano yung meron si Z, yun lang din makukuha niya. Kasi bad faith siya. Alam niya eh. Alam niya na voidable. So paglipat sa kanya, okay, voidable pa rin. Okay? Hindi na siya poprotektahan ngayon ng batas. Alright? Now, question. Will it transfer? Or will the ownership transfer? Yes. Lilipat pa rin. Kasi remember, ang title dito sa ating number 22 is voidable. Eh di ba ang voidable, once again, ay valid until annulled. Okay? Sige. Next. The sale of hope itself, again, definition lang. Okay, letter C ang sagot natin. Okay? Letter C ha, so kahit hindi mag-manifest or hindi mag-materialize, ay valid yung sale dyan. Yan po ang common example kapag nagbenta ng lotto ticket. Pero dapat hindi pa expired ha. Yung may chance ka to win, okay, hope yun. Pwede mo ibenta. Alright? Sige. So number 23, letter C. 24. When the owner of the thing sells it to the vendee, but continues to have possession or occupation of the thing, not as owner, but as tenant or lessee. Alright? So, parang sale and lease back. Di ba? Parang sale and lease back. So, that is traditio constitutum possessorium. Alright? So, ano ang opposite niyan? Okay? Anong opposite niyan? Yung, kapag naman lessor ka, okay, nasa yun na, tapos binili mo. Alright? Binili mo. So, ano yung mode of delivery sa'yo niyan? Traditio brevi manu naman yun. Okay? So, remember lang, huwag kayo malilito. Traditio longa manu, by pointing, tinuro. Alright? Okay? Yung traditio brevi manu, ikaw ay lessor dati na naging owner. Yung opposite nun is traditio constitutum possessorium. Dati kang owner, tapos naging kang lessor. Alright? So letter C, definition. 25. Okay, in a contract of sale of personal property, the price of which is payable in installments, the vendor may exercise any of the following remedies except. So anong tinatanong dito? Of course, alam natin, this is your Maceda. So remember, hindi pa Maceda, recto. Okay, recto. Recto law pala ito, recto. Okay, Article 18, 1484. Okay, 1484. So remember lang, na para mag-apply po yung recto law, kailangan personal property ang binibenta at payable on installment. Alright? So, ano ito ha? Dapat, para maging installment payment siya, sabi ng batas natin, sabi ng jurisprudence, dapat daw at least dalawa yung babayaran mo. Whether or not there is a down payment. So, ganito yon. Okay? Bayad ka ng 2 beses after ng perfection. Now, kung may down payment, dapat po 3. Okay? So, down, tapos 1, 2. Alright? Kung wala namang down, pwedeng 1, 2. Okay? Basta dapat at least 2 installments ito, excluding the down payment. Okay? Kapag hindi ganun ang setup mo, hindi po payable in installment yun. Once again, kailan nagiging installment? There needs to be at least 2 payments, not counting the down payment. Okay? Pag may down payment, 3. Alright? Yung down, tapos yung 2 installment. Pag wala kang down payment, 2. Yung 2 hulog mo. Alright? So again ha, dapat po personal property on installment. Now, alin daw pwede? Alin ang hindi pwede? The answer is letter D. Right? Remember, yung recto law po, may certain rules yan. Now, yung una, exact fulfillment. So, basically, specific performance lang or collection of a sum of money. Alright? Any installment yun. Kahit ilan yung hindi niya nabayaran, pwede mo yan gamitin. Alright? Now, Number 2, cancel the sale. Ito po, may minimum na. Kailangan 2 or more installments ang hindi niya nabayaran. Right? Tapos of course, dito, ano na yan, restitution. Okay? Yung letter C, foreclosure, chattel mortgage on the fixed sold. Again, 2 payments or more. Alright? So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung B and C, hindi mo pwedeng gawin kung less than 2 installments ang hindi nabayaran. Alright? Hindi pwede ha, kasi may minimum na sinet ang ating batas. Alright? Lastly, ano pa ang kailangan mong bantayan dito? Focus your attention on letter C. Alright? Yung letter C po, tandaang mabuti. Kailangan yung nakasangla ay yung item na binili mo. Alright? Yung binili mong item, siya mismo yung nakasangla. Alright? Para maging effective yung recto. Alright? Yung recto. Sige. Alright. So, number 25 is letter D. Yun po ang hindi mo pwede. Wala yan sa choice. Okay, wala yan dun sa 1484. Next, 26. When goods are delivered to the buyer on sale or return for a period of 7 days, ownership of the good passes to the buyer, syempre, sale or return upon delivery. Alright? Pag sale or return kasi, ibig sabihin, nag-transfer na po ng ownership. Okay? Ngayon, meron lang option si buyer kung ano ang gagawin niyang afterwards. Kasi di ba may obligation yung buyer. Kanya, nag-deliver na yung seller, di ba? Nag-transfer na yung ownership. Ngayon, yung buyer naman ang may obligation. Generally, di ba yung buyer, anong obligation ni buyer? Magbayad. Of course. Now, kapag sale or return, yung sale mo, okay, yung contract nyo ay sale or return, ang ibig sabihin lang yan is, the buyer has the option. Once ma-transfer sa kanya yung ownership, may option siya yun. Ano yung options niya? It's either 1, magbayad, yung normal, or number 2, ibalik. Okay, ibalik. Alright? Ibalik ha, ibalik. So, pwede niyang ibalik instead na magbayad. At no problem yon. Kasi, sale or return yung contract. Okay? Sige. 27. A sold his only car to B for 300,000 pesos to be paid as follows. Okay? 150 upon delivery of the car and the balance at 10,000 per month until full payment. Okay? So, installment, clearly. Later, the car gets burned in the possession of B, alright, through a fortuitous event without B's fault before full payment of the balance. So, na-transfer na po yung kotse ha. Na-transfer na yung ownership, gamit na niya eh. Okay, gamit na niya. Yung nga lang, nasunog. Okay, sana lang sana walang nangyari kay B kasi nasunog yung kotse while in the possession. So, is B obliged to pay the balance? Alright? Now, remember po na yung rule natin sa sale is this. Res, perit, domino. Okay? Nag-transfer na yung ownership kay B. So, ibig sabihin, okay, B now bears the risk of loss. Siya na po. Okay? Siya na ang bahala. Okay? Siya na ang bahala kung anong mangyari dyan. Bakit? Kanya yun eh. Alright? Now, the loss of the thing, kahit fortuitous pa yun, will no longer affect yung obligation ni B magbayad. Kasi, tapos na po yung transfer of ownership, nagawa na ni A yung kanyang obligation, si B, alright, kailangan niya pa rin bayaran yun, even if wala na yung kotse. Alright? Okay, remember that ha? Even if wala na yung kotse. Kasi under Article, 1504, okay, pag na-transfer na, it shall be, okay, the risk shall be with the buyer already, as the owner. And that is the principle of res perit domino. 28. Which is not an implied warranty in a contract of sale. Okay, not an implied warranty. Okay, madami po yan. Okay, madami yan. Okay, madaming implied warranty dyan. Okay, so ito po yung implied warranty. Ang ibig sabihin lang is, kahit hindi mo pinag-usapan, yan po ay obligation. Alright? Now, remember yung mga warranty natin is what? Okay, merong yan, merong listahan. Okay, so alin dito yung wala? Letter A. The right to sell the thing at the time of perfection. Okay, wala pong ganyan. Okay, walang ganyan sa implied warranties natin. Di ba? Yan yung yan yung mga warranty against eviction, alright? Warranty against hidden defects. Okay? Tapos warranty to be free from yung ano tawag dito? Yung encumbrances, yung mga lien, alright? Mga servitudes na tawag. Tapos ito, reasonably fit, related yung BNC dyan. Okay? Anong point? There is a list na kailangan mo tandaan. Okay? And even if you take a look at that list, wala po nito. O yung right to sell. Okay, wala. Hindi yan implied warranty. Alright? Sige. So, number 28, letter A yan. Okay? Next, 29. Right? 29. A sold to B his car and promised to deliver 10 days later. Alright? So, benta 10 days later. The next day, after the sale to B, A sold the car to C and immediately effected delivery. Okay? So, yung una niyang sale, sabi niya, di niya deliver agad, but yung pangalawa niyang sale, binigay niya agad ng benta. Right? So, this is clearly double sale. Now, on the day agreed upon, A did not deliver the car to B kasi, syempre, paano niya pa i-deliver? Naibigay na niya sa ibang tao. Which one is correct? Alright? Which one is correct? Letter D. Alright? Is liable for damages and is in default without need of any demand. Now, remember lang, okay, ano tawag dito? Yung, di ba normally no demand, no default tayo. So, tandaan mo lang na merong dagdag pa, okay, merong dagdag. na under 1165. This applies to a determinate thing, right? So if the obligor has promised to deliver the thing to two or more persons who do not have the same interest, shall be liable for a fortuitous unless effected deleted. All right? Now, ang point lang, tsaka 1544 also pala. Actually, mas 1544 pala. So remember lang na kapag personal property, kasi yung 1544 madalas ang covered natin dyan is one. Di ba yung personal, ay yung real property, di ba? Yung kung sino unang mag-retro. Ganyan, di ba? Now, kapag personal property po, possession lang. Kung sino unang mag-possess in good faith. Okay, sa kanya na yun. Matatransfer ang ownership sa kanya property. Eh dito sa ating problem, wala bang sinabi na may alam si C or in bad faith si C, wala naman, di ba? So, nung na-deliver sa kanya yung kotse, okay, assumption natin, na-transfer ownership niya. Alright? So, what happened? Okay? Hindi na ngayon magagawa ni B. Okay? Ay, sorry, hindi na magagawa ni A yung kanyang original na obligation din. Kaya siya magiging liable for damage. Alright? Sige. So, alright. So, number 29, letter D po. Okay? 30. Ayan, redhibitory. Ito po yung sa mga animals. Okay, redhibitory based on faults or defects of animals must be brought within. Ito lang po yung wala ito, memory work lang talaga. 40 days. Siya lang yung medyo kakaiba. Alright, 40 days from delivery. Alright? So, redhibitory based on defects of animals po ito 40 days from delivery to the thing. Okay, 31. Okay, nasa tayo? 31. Okay, 31. When is, hindi po makita. Ayun, 31. When is the pledgor or mortgagor required to be the owner of the thing, pledge, or mortgage for the validity of the contract? So, kailan daw required ang ownership? Okay, kailan? So, remember, kasama po yan sa listahan natin. Okay, at the time the contract of pledge is perfected or constituted. Okay, nakasama yan sa Article 2085. Okay, if I remember correctly. Okay, 2085. Now, yan po yung essential requisite. Okay, so, yan ay, of course, dapat for security purposes, yung inyong contract. Number 2, you are the absolute owner of the thing. Ito po yun, yung nasa 31. Number 3, dapat may free disposal ka or you are, okay, or you are at least legally authorized to do so. Alright, so yung ownership po, pag pledge or mortgage, dapat from at the time na constituted ang pledge or mortgage. Okay, so number 31, letter B. 32, okay, it is a stipulation whereby the thing pledged or mortgage shall automatically become the property of the creditor in the event of non-payment of the debt within the fixed term. Ang keyword po dito is automatic. So, ibig sabihin, the moment mag-default, automatic transferred na ang ownership. Alright? Automatic po automatic. That is pactum commissorium. Remember guys, hindi po porket na i-transfer, okay, hindi porket nag-transfer ng property, okay, as a result of default, ay pactum na. Okay, hindi automatic, hindi yun, it doesn't work that way. Dapat po automatic. Yung wala ka nang gagawin, the moment mag-default, nag-transfer na agad yung ownership. Okay, automatic. Pactum commissorium. 33. Okay, what is the nature of a contract of pledge, chattel mortgage, or real estate mortgage, or anti-creasing? Okay, nature lang, that is indivisible. Okay, remember pag may contract of real security ka, pag may contract of security, tandaan, dalawa po yung contract. Yung principal at saka ito. Kasi, itong mga nakalista, these are all accessory contract. Alright? So, yung principal contract, normally loan yon or sale, ganyan, they can exist on their own. Itong mga accessory contracts mo, ay hindi po pwedeng sila lang. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin? Kunwari pledge. Hindi pwede na contract of pledge lang ang meron. Kailangan meron siyang principal contract. Alright? Accessory contracts, guys, cannot exist on their own. Okay? Whereas, okay, principal contracts, on the other hand, can exist even without accessories. Alright? Now, ang pinukontrya ni letter D is, indivisible po yung accessory contract na to. Okay? Indivisible sila. Regardless kung ano ang nature ng principal. So, kahit joint, solidary, or even, or even kahit single obligation lang yun, that does not affect the indivisibility of the accessory. Alright? So, ayun lang naman. Next, it is a contract by virtue of which the debtor delivers to the creditor or a third person a movable property, an instrument evidencing incorporeal right, for the purpose of securing the fulfillment of a principal obligation with the understanding that when the obligation is fulfilled, the thing delivered shall be returned with all its fruits in accession. Na may sinabi, yan po ay contract of pledge. Okay, so yan po ang definition ng contract of pledge. Okay? Ay, sorry, before we leave this one, anong pwede mo tandaan sa dami na sinabi dyan? Okay, remember personal property, tapos delivered. Okay, delivered. So, security transaction to, na yung personal property ay dinideliver saan? Doon sa creditor. Alright? Kasi kapag personal property, tapos security, na hindi may dideliver sa creditor, iba po yun. Yun ay chattel mortgage. Okay, yun lang naman. Kapag i-deliver sa creditor, pledge yan. Alright? Pagka hindi, chattel mortgage yan. Okay? 35. What is the legal effect, okay, of a promise or contract to constitute a pledge? So wala pa pong pledge talaga, promise pa lang to constitute a pledge. Okay? Remember ha, magkaiba po ha. Iba po yung contract of pledge sa promise to constitute a pledge or contract to constitute a pledge. Magkaiba po yun. Alright? Kapag po contract to constitute a pledge pa lang, letter C po yan. Alright? That's Article 2092. Okay? A promise to constitute a pledge shall give rise only to a personal action. Alright? So, wala pa pong pledge talaga. Okay, wala pang pledge talaga. Nangako ka pa lang na mag-establish kayo ng pledge. So, anong point nitong question na to? You need to know the difference between an actual pledge and a promise to constitute a pledge. Yung actual pledge, real contract yun. Yung promise to constitute a pledge, yan ay personal lang. Alright? See you. And it is perfected by Newton. 36. Okay, which of the following stipulations in a contract of pledge is null and void? Sagot natin is letter A. Alright? 1 and 3. Okay, yan po yung void. Ano yung void? A stipulation which provides that the contract of pledge is not extinguished by the return of the same pledge. Ay, hindi po. Alright? Even if you have a stipulation, pag binalik mo na, di ba nasa creditor? Pag binalik na yung thing, extinguished na yun. Alright? Wala na. Okay? Kahit mag-stipulate ka pa, extinguished na yun. Bakit? Kasama kasi sa requirement for protection, di ba? Yung delivery. So, statement 1, void yan. Okay, statement 3, bakit yan void? Recovery of deficiency in case the proceeds of the sale is less than the amount of the obligation. Ay, hindi po. Di ba remember, pag nagbenta ka dito sa sa pledge, pag binenta mo na, okay, you have to give an acquittance. Tawag doon, acquittance. So, dapat, ito extinguish na yung main obligation, regardless kung more or less yung proceeds. Okay? Pagka may deficiency, hindi ka na pwedeng kumuha ng yung kulang, hindi mo na pwedeng singilin niya. Pag may sobra, okay, okay, sa'yo na yon bilang isang creditor, maliban na lang if you have a stipulation to the contrary. Alright? So 1 and 3 are void. Okay? Yung statement 2 naman, appropriation of the pledgee of the thing, pledge in case the thing is not sold in the first and second auction. Alright? Actually, nasa batas mismo yan. Appropriation. So ano ibig sabihin pag appropriation? Magiging kanya na. Alright? Kasi di ba normally bawal yun? Di ba normally bawal? But dito, it is allowed. Okay, it is allowed. After the second auction. Okay? So 36, letter A. 37. Okay, 37. Which of the following, the following are formalities required for the sale of a thing pledge in case of failure of the debtor to pay the principal obligation. Exit. Alin daw yung hindi? Alright? So the answer is letter D. The thing pledge must be sold by the pledgee at the first auction. Ay, hindi po. Okay? Pwede nga mag-second, di ba? Alright? Actually, pwede ka pa mag-third kung gusto mo. Pero normally, sabi ng batas, after the second auction, the pledgee is already allowed to appropriate the thing. Okay? May. Pwede naman. All the others, guys, requirement yan. Right? So, again, public auction, tapos notarial sale. Okay? Ito, notarial sale yan. And of course, you have to notify. Okay? You have to notify. Hindi pwedeng gulatan yan. Alright? Hindi pwede. Meron pa rin yan. Meron pa rin notice requirement. Okay? Sige. Number 37, letter D ha. 38, it refers to the right of the mortgagor to repurchase the property within a certain period after it was sold in public auction. Okay, of the secured debt. So remember, after selling, tapos meron kang right to repurchase. That is your right of redemption. Okay, so after the sale na yan. Okay? After the sale, kapag may right ka to repurchase, that is the right of redemption. Okay? 39. Ito, medyo matindi-tindi pala ito. In case of judicial foreclosure, okay, if upon trial, in such action, the court shall find the facts set forth in the complaint to be true, it shall ascertain the amount due to the plaintiff upon the mortgage or obligation, including interest and other charges and costs, and shall render judgment for the sum so found due, and order the same to be paid to the court or to the judgment obligee. Okay? This is known as equity of redemption. Okay? The debtor shall be paid by the judgment debtor. What is the period for exercise of equity of redemption in case of a judicial foreclosure? So anong ibig sabihin nito? Okay? The general rule is, kapag judicial po ang foreclosure, wala po tayong right of redemption. Okay, wala ha. Binibigyan ka lang. Okay, binibigyan lang po tayo ng chance. Okay, binibigyan lang tayo ng chance magbayad. Bakit ka magbabayad? Para po pigilan yung pagbenta. Okay, kasi remember, kapag hindi mo nabayaran within this period, what happens? Ibebenta na po yung property. Alright? Now, gaano katagal yung meron ka? Generally po, ito po ang nasa batas. Ito yung nasa rules of court. Letter A. Okay, not less than 90, not more than 20 from the entry of judgment. Alright, entry of judgment. Now, yan po yung period na equity redemption. So magkaka-judgment muna, magbayad ka. Okay, kapag hindi mo nabayaran within that period, ibebenta na yan. But take note lang po. Okay, take note lang ito ha. Kasi, alright, meron kasing, tawag nila jurisprudence. So ruling ng korte. Okay, may mga ruling ng korte kasi na yung equity redemption daw is, of course, the right of the mortgagor to extinguish the mortgage and retain ownership of the property by paying the secured debt within the 90-day period. Ito yung 90 days. Alright? Pero may karugtong yun. Okay? After the judgment becomes final, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng entry of judgment. Or after the foreclosure, but before the confirmation of the sale. Okay? Kasi remember, after po nitong nangyari na to, yung judgment, so mag-entry, pag hindi mo binayaran, ibebenta yan. Ngayon, pagkabenta, ay auction, di ba? Babalik po ulit sa korte yun. Tapos magkakaroon ng tinatawag na confirmation. technically speaking, pwede mo pa rin i-exercise yung equity of redemption. Okay, equity of redemption mo. Anytime before ma-confirm yung sale. Alright? Kino-consider pa rin nilang equity of redemption. Okay? So kapag po may tanong na ganito, check mo muna. Okay? Kapag given yung mga period na ganito, ang sagot mo, syempre, letter A. Okay? 90 days, not less than 90, no more than 20. 120. However, kapag may nakita ka na before confirmation of the sale, tas judicial foreclosure, yun po ang isasagot mo. Alright? Kasi remember, according to our jurisprudence, meaning rulings ng Korte, ng Korte Suprema, yung equity of redemption, actually, lumalampas pa siya ng 120. For as long as the auction or the sale at auction is not yet confirmed by the court, the debtor is still allowed to exercise the equity of redemption. Okay? So letter A ang sagot natin, but be careful ha. Doon sa aking mga pinagsasabi ngayon. Right? Number 40. Which of the following statements, okay, which of the following statements concerning the formalities of real estate mortgage is incorrect? Alin daw yung mali? Alright? Letter D. Okay, letter D. It must be in writing to be valid since it is a formal contract. Mali po yan. Alright? False yan. Bakit? Ay, incorrect yan. Bakit? Kasi po, a real estate mortgage is consensual. Alright? Ngayon, so valid siya between the parties in whatever form. Consent lang kailangan nyo. Okay? Now, kailan mo siya ginagawa? Bakit mo siya kailangan? Bakit siya ginagawa in writing? Alright? Kasi, kailangan mo yan gawing in writing para ma-register mo sa Registry of Property. Bakit mo kailangan i-register sa Registry of Property? Kasi diyan lang siya magiging binding sa third persons. Okay? So without registration, okay, yan ay valid between the parties. Yung kayo, kung sino yung magkausap talaga. Now, kapag ni-register mo yan, even third persons are bound by the contract. Kailangan nilang respetuhin yung mortgage. Alright? And the only way for you to be able to register is kapag in writing yan. Alright? Actually, public instrument pa nga. Hindi lang basta in writing. Alright? So, number 40, mga kapatid, the answer here is letter C. So, next, 41. It is a contract of two or more persons who bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. May also be formed by two or more persons for the exercise of a common profession. Definition lang po, that is a contract of partnership. Okay? So, yung second sentence, yan po yung GPP. Right? Common profession. Alright? Sige. 42. Which of the following statements is true as regards the right of the industrial partner to engage in another business? Now, letter B ang sagot dito ha. Ang general rule pag industrial ka, you cannot engage. Okay? Unless the partnership allows you to. Remember ha, expressly. So, bawal ka unless payagan ka expressly. Bakit? Kasi remember, yung industrial partner, wala ka namang capital contribution. Ang mo is yung industry mo or yung services. So, ang expectation, 100% ay doon ka. Okay? Now, maliban na lang kung papayagan ka ng partners mo, wala namang problema yun. Now, kapag naman ikaw ay capitalist partner, okay, ang rule is, pwede ka. Okay? Pag capitalist partner ka, pwede. Alright? Pwede kang mag-exercise ng, mag-engage ka in other businesses. Okay lang yun. Ano lang ang bawal? Kapag direct competitor ng partnership nyo. Alright? Siyempre, partnership pa rin yan. Yes, if you are a capitalist partner, yes, you are allowed to engage in other businesses. However, huwag mo namang kalabanin. Okay? Huwag mo namang kalabanin yung negosyo mo mismo. Alright? So again, number 42, letter B. Okay? Ang general rule, bawal. Maliban na lang if the partnership allows this person. Okay? 43. In the absence of a stipulation to the contrary, what is the obligation of the partners as to capital contribution? Letter A, equal po. Okay, kung hindi nyo sabihin, okay, kung magkano ang contribution ng bawat isang tao, it is assumed na equal yan. Okay? That is 1790, I believe. Alright? Article 1790. Okay? Number 44. The following are the rights of a partner in a partnership except, okay? Letter B, admit a person into the partnership without the consent of the others. Hindi pwede yan. Okay? Hindi pwede yan. Bakit? Kasi, contract pa rin ito. Okay? You are not allowed, yung concept yan ng delectus personae, okay, you are allowed to associate yourselves with anybody you want, but you cannot be compelled to associate yourself with any person that you do not want to be associated with. Okay? So, pwede ka mag-associate kahit sino mong gusto, pero hindi ka pwedeng pilitin mag-associate with some person na ayaw mo. Alright? Now, ang babantayan mo lang is, yung sa limited partnership. Meron kasi sa limited partnership, the general partner, okay, the general partner, in a limited partnership po, in a limited partnership, the general partner, okay, shall have the right to admit, okay, shall have the right to admit an additional limited partner if that right is given to him in the certificate. Okay? So again ha, in a limited partnership, yung general partner po, kapag nakalagay doon sa articles of partnership ninyo, na may power siya to admit additional limited partners, ay pwede yun gawin, even without the consent of the other. Pero dapat, nandun siya sa articles of partnership in the first place. Alright? So again, number 44. Generally, okay, an individual partner cannot admit an additional partner. Kasi, contract ito, kailangan ng consent ng iba. The exception to this one is in the context of a limited partnership. So in the limited partnership, Siyempre, merong general partner, may limited partners. Diba? So, kung nakalagay sa articles of partnership ninyo that the general partner is allowed to admit additional limited partners, then pwede yun. Alright? Even without the consent of the others. Okay? Sige. So, number 44 is letter B. Oops, 45. What is the partner's interest in the partnership? So, definition lang po ito. Okay? It is the share in the surplus. Okay? Of the, sorry, net asset. Sorry. Letter C pala. Profits in the surplus. Sorry. Alright? Dalawa nga pala yan. So, meron kang, yung interest ng partnership, yung interest ng individual partner in a partnership is composed of two things. Share in the profit, kasi di ba meron kang profit and loss and you're not, and hindi pwedeng alisin ka sa profit and loss. And of course, your share in the surplus. Okay? Yun yung net assets na. Okay? Meron kang interest doon. Alright? So, that is 1812. Alright? 1812. So, letter C. 46. Which of the following statements concerning nominal partners and partnership by estoppel are correct? Alright? So, letter C ang sagot, both po. Okay, both A and B. Okay, both A and B are correct. So, ang problem mo lang, ang situation dito is dalawa. Alright? So, nag-represent ka na partner sa isang partnership talaga, or nag-represent kayo, or nag-represent ka to be partners with people who are not actually partners. Okay? So, ang kailangan mo tandaan doon is may third person kayong essentially na naloko. Okay, may third person na naloko. Naniwala eh. Alright? So, paano ang liability dyan? Okay? So, depende. Okay? Kapag may partnership talaga, partnership liability. Okay? Ngayon, kapag wala naman, okay, wala, yung partners, yung people lang who consented. Alright? Yung nag-consent lang. Okay? So, remember, ang magiging trouble dito is pag pumayag ka. Okay? Kasi, syempre, di ba, hindi mo naman makontrol yung ginagawa ng ibang tao. Hindi mo makontrol yan. Nagkakaroon ka ng problem pag pumayag kayo. Or, kunyari, hindi nyo siya pinigilan. Nalaman nyo na, tapos hindi nyo pinigilan. Ayun, magkakaproblema ka na rin. Alright? So, again ha, hindi mo makontrol yung ginagawa ng ibang tao. Nagre-represent siya na partner mo or kasama sa partnership niyo, wala tayong magawa doon. Okay? Ang magagawa mo lang dyan, ang option mo to get out of trouble is pigilan mo siya or i-deny mo yung niya, yung pag-represent, pag-misrepresent niya. Alright? So, otherwise, magkakaroon ng liability. Alright? Sige. So, number 46, letter C. Number 47. The following are the instances when the act of a partner after dissolution does not bind the partnership with third persons except. So, does not bind. Okay, alin daw yung exception? So, when is it binding? Okay, the answer is letter D. Alright? So, the question here is kailan daw binding? Okay, kasi diba normally, syempre, pag dissolve na, wala nang contract, extinguish na yung contract. Alright? So, letter D po ang sagot. Okay, letter D ang sagot. Alright, letter D ang sagot dito. Ha? Diyan lang magiging binding yung act of a partner after the dissolution. Okay? 48. What is the minimum composition of a limited partnership? Ay, of course. Alright? Remember guys, hindi pwede. Okay, para sa isang limited partnership, hindi pwedeng puro limited partner kayo. Hindi pwede yon. Ang minimum niyan, there must be at least one limited and at least one general. Alright? Ulitin ko lang, hindi pwede na lahat kayo limited partner. Hindi po pwede yon. Alright? Kailangan at least one limited, at least one general. Alright? Now, question, pwede bang lahat general partner? Oo, pwede yon. Pero hindi po yung limited partner. Okay? Hindi yung limited partnership. General partnership lang yun. Alright? So, number 48, letter C. 49. What is the effect if there is no substantial compliance with the registration of the certificate of limited co-partnership with the SEC? Alright? Kasi ang requirement naman lang substantial compliance. Alright? Although, syempre, in real life, guys, huwag mo nang isugal yun. Kasi yung substantial compliance, that is, depende sa SEC yun eh, kung substantially compliant ka na. Eh, huwag mo nang isa-alang-alang yan. Sundan mo na lang kung ano yung procedure nila. Alright? Pero, in theory, okay, theoretically, you don't really need to follow the instructions to the letter. Okay? Kasi, the requirement is only substantial compliance. Alright? So, kailan daw? Ano raw yung effect pag hindi ka substantially compliant? Letter D. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng maging limited partnership. Kasi, limited partnership, guys, is a formal contract. Okay? Formal po yan. Okay? Meron kang certain formalities na kailangan sundin bago maging valid yung contract mo. However, remember lang na kahit na hindi maging successful yung inyong limited partnership because of this, hindi man ibig sabihin nun na wala kayong partnership. Meron pa rin. Okay? Yun nga lang, general partnership na kayo. Alright? So again you are not going to become a limited partnership, but the general partnership will remain. Okay? Number 50. Who among the following may join together to establish a GPP? Alright? Again, ano yung GPP, guys? Kailangan may common profession. Common profession. Dapat pare-parehas. So, letter B ang sagot dyan. Alright? Letter B. Bakit pwedeng letter B? Kasi CPA, CPA. Alright? Sige. 51. Which of the following statements refers to a domestic corporation? Alright? So, remember lang, guys, magiging domestic corporation ka lang pag letter A. Pag ginamit mo yung batas ng Pilipinas para gumawa ng corporation, then, domestic ka. Okay? Pag ginamit mo yung revised corporation code. Alright? So, yung letter B, yan po yung foreign corporation definition. Letter C, this is both in fact and in law, this is de jure. Okay? De jure corporation. Hindi po yung de jure ha, de jure. Alright? Tapos letter D, existing in fact but not in law. Ano ito? This one is your de facto corporation. Alright? Sige, so answer here is letter A ha. 51, letter A. 52. Refers to a group of persons that assumes to act as a corporation, knowing it to be without authority to do so, and enters into a transaction with a third person on the strength of such appearance. So essentially, may niloloko ka. Okay? Nagpapanggap kayo na corporation na alam nyo na hindi naman talaga kayo corporation. Alright? It has no juridical personality, but the persons composing it will be liable like general partners, meaning pro rata, subsidiarily to third person. Alright? This is a corporation by estoppel. Okay? Corporation by estoppel. Alright? Corporation by estoppel. And by the way, pag corporation by estoppel, if you are asked, tinanong ka, is there a corporation? Okay? Is a corporation by estoppel a corporation? Ang sagot mo dun dapat no. Okay? Itong corporation by estoppel po, walang corporation dito, hindi corporation ito. Okay? This is just a means of determining liability. Okay? Kaya po pansinin mo, ang sinabi doon is just your liability as general partner. Yun lang. Walang sinabing corporation. Okay? So 52 again, letter C. 53. It refers to the basic class of ordinary shares, usually without extraordinary rights or privileges, and the owners thereof are entitled to pro rata share in the profits of the corporation in its assets. Hindi po yan assets, dapat assets. Okay, assets po yan. Upon dissolution and likewise the management of its affairs. This type of share, which has complete voting rights, is required to be present in every stock corporation. E syempre, ordinary, yan din yung common. Okay? Alright, so complete voting rights, it is required in every stock corporation. Kasi di ba, remember, pwede kang gumawa ng mga preferred, pero kahit pwede kang gumawa nun, hindi pwedeng lahat preferred. Kasi kailangan, there has to be shares with complete voting rights. Alright? And normally, yung may complete voting rights. Normally ha, yung may complete voting rights, yung common shares. Okay? So the answer here is letter B, common shares. 54. Which of the following statements concerning no par value shares is false? Okay, no par. Okay, so again, yung shares mo guys, pwedeng with par value or without par value. Okay lang. The answer here is letter B. Okay? So pag no par shares guys, merong mga corporation na bawal, okay, mag-issue ng no par shares. Okay? So generally, shares can be with par or no par. Okay? So may mga corporation guys na under our law are not allowed to issue no par shares. Okay? Normally mga ano yon, mga corporations, mga financial institutions normally yon. So yan ay bangko, trust entity, insurance companies, pre-need companies, all right? Or meron ding public utilities, okay, public utilities, building and loan associations, and other corporations authorized to access funds from the public, whether publicly listed or not. So as long as you're yung financial institution ka, public utility, or you can access funds from the public, kailangan yung shares mo ay may par. Okay? So listahan yun guys, wala tayong magagawa. We have to familiarize ourselves. Okay? So comments lang, no par shares, remember, the entire consideration is treated as legal capital. Okay? And not be available for distribution of dividends. So, legal capital yan. Alright? Legal capital. Now, article must state na no par siya. Okay? Kailangan nasa articles pa lang. Okay? Issued without par value is deemed fully paid and non-accessible. Okay? Kasi, yun na yun. Okay? Hindi na siya pwedeng i-collect kapag hindi na pwedeng i-collect kasi deemed fully paid na yun. Non-accessible. Alright? So, again, number 54 po, letter D ang false kasi merong types ng corporations na par value lang pwedeng i-issue. 55. It refers to a stock that resulted to an understatement of assets, understatement of capital, or overstatement of liability. An entity might issue this type of stock or for competitive reasons to hide from other businesses that it has a better financial position than appears in its financial statement. Yan po ay letter B. Okay? Secret reserves po yan. Huwag po tayo malilito ha, iba yung watered stock. Yung watered stock po, ang nangyari dyan is nag-issue ng share for less than the par value. Okay? Less than the par value, watered yon. Pero kapag ganito ang situation, ang tawag dyan, secret reserve. Okay? So, paki-note po ito, magkaiba ang watered stock sa secret reserve. Alright? Sige. 56. Under the revised corporation code, the minimum number of independent directors vested with public interest. So, pag vested with public interest, meron kang meron kang requirement na minimum. Okay? The answer is letter A. Alright? Letter A. So, again, ano yung mga vested with public interest? Diba? Yung ano yan? Yung public corp, yung may 50, 200, 100. Okay? 50, 200, 100. 50 million assets, 200 shareholders, tapos 100 shares each. Ano pa? Registered issuers, tapos listed on an exchange. Ano pa? Banks, quasi-banks, yung mga ganyan, financial institutions. Diba? Tapos, ano pa? Other corporations na designated as CBPI by the SEC. So again guys, listahan yun. So, we have to familiarize ourselves. Kasi the moment maging CBPI ka, may requirement ka na mag-independent director. At kailangan yung independent directors mo, anong minimum number? At least 20% of the total number of directors. Okay? Now, yung yung independent director is independent of management, so hindi siya pwedeng executive director, and free from any business or other relationship that could reasonably be perceived to materially interfere with the exercise of independent judgment or in carrying out the responsibility. Alright? So, please familiarize ourselves lang. Okay? So CVPI po ito ha, at least 20%. 57. Under this principle, courts cannot undertake to control discretion of the board of directors about administrative matters as to which they have legitimate powers of action. It also means that questions of policy or management are left solely to the honest decision of officers and directors of the corporation, and the courts are without authority to substitute their judgment for the judgment of the board of directors. So, in simple terms, in the absence of bad faith, the court or even the SEC cannot substitute its judgment. Okay, bakit? Kasi di ba remember, sa isang corporation, yung board of directors po ang nag-exercise ng corporate power. In the absence of bad faith, okay, wala pong pwedeng makialam sa kanila. Kahit na hindi masyadong maganda yung decision, basta as long as walang bad faith, yun pa rin. Okay, that will govern. And that is called your letter A. That is your business judgment rule. Okay? Kasi remember, negosyo nila to. Sila ang, presumably, sila ang nakakaalam kung ano ba. Alright? Sige. 58. The following are the qualifications of a corporate president except, alin daw yung hindi. Alright? Of course, alam natin yon. Wala pong residency requirement, wala rin pong citizenship requirement ang presidente. Okay? Maliban na lang kapag nandun ka sa mga ano, okay? Yung sa nationalized industries. Alright? Pero generally, okay, wala pong requirement ng nationality or residency ang pagiging president. Ng, ano to ha, ng corporation. Okay? So again, kailan lang nagkakaroon ng mga requirement na nationality? Kapag ikaw ay nasa nationalized industry. Alright? Sige. 59. Which of the following is disqualified from being a corporate treasurer? So, tinatanong rin sa'yo kung ano ang requirements ng pagiging treasurer. Okay? Ayan, letter C. Okay, letter C. Okay, siyempre yung corporate treasurer, wala namang requirement talaga yan. Okay, residency lang. Kailangan resident ka ng Philippines. Okay, yun lang. Wala nang iba. Alright? Now, siyempre, pwede bang maging treasurer yung isang director? Oo, pwede. Kung gusto niya. Wala namang problema yun. Alright? Now, secretary of the corporation. Wala rin problem. Pwede naman silang at the same time. Okay, pwede naman sila at the same time. Shareholder. Siyempre, pwede. Wala rin namang problema yun. Okay? Now, anong bawal? Yung letter C. The president cannot be the treasurer. The president cannot be the secretary at the same time. Okay? Now, ano ang exception? Okay? Generally, the president cannot be the treasurer at the same time. Ano po ang exception? Alright? Ang exception po dito is kapag one-person corporation. Okay? In a one-person corporation, the president can be the treasurer at the same time. Okay? In a one-person corporation, the president can be the corporate treasurer at the same time. Okay? Kailangan lang niya mag-file ng bond sa SEC. Pero, doon lang po pwede. Okay? Yun lang ang exceptional case. Generally, the president cannot be the treasurer at the same time, except if you are operating in a one-person corporation. Okay? Sige. Next. Okay. Balik. Under the revised corporation code, it refers to the board created by the remaining directors who do not constitute a quorum when emergency action is required to prevent grave, substantial, and irreparable loss or damage to the corporation. Alright? So remember ha, wala ng quorum, pero merong kailangan gawin to prevent grave, substantial, and irreparable loss or damage. Emergency board. Okay? Hindi po basta-basta walang quorum ha. Kulang yan. Dapat to prevent grave, substantial, and irreparable loss or damage. So letter A. 61. Maximum amount granted as compensation, of course, kayang-kaya niya. Letter D, ang tandaan mo lang dyan, net income before tax immediately preceding year. Alright? 10% of net income before tax immediately preceding year. Last year po. Okay, last year yan ha. Hindi yung ngayon. Last year ang iyong magiging basihan. Alright. Next. It refers to an act committed outside the object for which the corporation is created, as defined by law of its organization, and therefore beyond the express, implied, or incidental powers of the corporation. So remember lang, yung corporation, guys, merong tatlong powers yan. Express, yun yung mga nakasulat. Implied, which are implied from the express one. And incidental powers, okay, these are the powers that the corporation has by virtue of being a corporation. So, anong point nun? Hindi porket walang nakasulat ay hindi mo kapangyarihan yon. Okay? Yung implied at saka incidental, hindi po nakasulat yan. Pero, may power ka pa rin. Now, if your action is beyond your express, implied, or incidental powers, ang tawag doon, ultra vires. So, remember guys, hindi po automatic na kapag walang nakasulat, okay, hindi automatic na beyond your powers yun. Kasi may implied at incidental pa. Kailan nagiging ultra vires? If that one is beyond the express, beyond the implied, saka beyond the incidental. Okay, doon lang naging ultra vires yun. 63. What is the basis for computation to determine whether the sale of all or substantially all the corporation's properties of the corporation? Alright? That is based on letter A. Net asset value. Okay? Net asset value. Ito, magtiwala ka na lang. Okay? Ano naman yan? Provision lang ng batas yan. Alright? Sige. So, net asset value as determined as shown in its latest estimate. Okay? Net asset value. 64. The following are the requisites for the validity of the bylaws. So, alin ba yung hindi? Okay, so the bylaws, okay, dapat siyempre hindi siya contrary doon sa code natin. Of course, hindi pwedeng ano yan. Okay? Kasi yung corporation code dapat sinusunod talaga. Siyempre, hindi rin dapat siya illegal. Okay? Kasi any law. Tapos articles. Kasi yung articles ang kailangan, sumasang-ayon lang siya doon sa articles. Okay? Not contrary to moral, public policy, of course. Now, ito yung bawal. it cannot be discriminatory, oppressive, and arbitrary. Alright? Ngayon guys, ito hindi mo makita yan sa batas. Okay? Kasi yung mga ruling na lang ng Supreme Court yan. Alright? Kasi yung bylaws guys, that is a product of common law. So kaya may mga ganyan bagay. So once again, ito magtiwala ka na lang ha. Ang point lang is, the bylaws need to follow the law also. Okay? Kailangan ano yan? Okay? Kailangan sumusunod yan sa batas. Alright? And of course, kung sumusunod ka sa batas, it cannot be discriminatory, oppressive, and arbitrary. 65. Mandatorily, where shall the regular and special meeting of the stockholders be located? Letter A yan. Okay? Normally, dapat sa principal office. Pero pag impractical, hindi kayo kasya doon, pwede doon sa city or municipality where the principal office is located. So, anong kailangan mo tandaan dito? Kailangan po, nasa Pilipinas ka. Kasi you cannot designate an office outside the Philippines. At hindi ka rin pwede mag-meeting outside. Pag stockholders po ha, pag directors yan, kahit saan, pwede sila mag-meeting, even outside the Philippines, kapag directors. Pero pag stockholders, meron pang limit. Alright? Kailangan nandun sa principal office. Now, ano yung medyo tricky na exception dito? Kasi pwede na pong online, di ba? Okay, you can attend online. So, yun lang. Pero generally, as a matter of principle, kailangan sundan mo yung letter A. Okay? So, 65 is letter A. 66. Under the RCC, in case of postponement of the regular meeting, written notice and the reason shall be sent at least 2 weeks. Okay? Postponement po ito ng regular meeting, at least 2 weeks. Okay? So, wala tayong magagawa. Memorize lang ito talaga, at least 2 weeks prior. Okay? 67. Following are the requisites of a valid proxy. Alright? So lahat po yan, requirement except yung letter D. Okay? Bakit? So in writing, tapos filed, okay, before the meeting, dapat i-file mo yan sa corporate secretary, tapos valid only for the meeting intended. So one-time use lang dapat yan unless it is a continuing proxy. Okay? So yun po ang default rule. One-time use, maliban na lang kung sabihin mong for all meetings yan. Alright? Now, yung letter D, okay, hanggang 5 years lang po ang effectivity. Okay, di ba? Siyempre, pwede mong gawing continuing proxy, pero may limitation pa rin siya as to time. Okay? O pwede siyang continuing proxy, pero hanggang 5 years lang. Okay? Ngayon, kung lalampas ng 5 years, ay gagawa ka ng bago. Alright? So, ano yung proxy na to? Guys, ito po yung para makapag-attend, mag-designate ka ng person na mag-attend ng meeting at boboto para kayo. Alright? Sige, once again ha, 5 years lang po ang maximum. 68. It refers to an agreement whereby stockholders, the trustors of a stock corporation, confers upon the trustee the right to vote and other rights pertaining to the shares. It should not be used to circumvent the law against monopolies and illegal combinations, okay, or for fraud. Hindi pwede. Siyempre, lahat naman ganun, di ba? Okay? It may be predetermined through a court petition, pre-terminated, It can be pre-terminated through a court petition by the trustors when their rights are trampled upon by the trustee. Okay, nakita mo naman sa sangkatutak na salita yung ginamit. Okay, bihira naman ito. Yan po ay voting trust agreement. Okay, so ang nangyayari dyan, mag-execute kayo ng trust, ipapangalan nyo na dun. Okay, dun sa trustee ninyo, yung share. So siya nang bahala. Okay, bibigyan na lang kayo ng trust certificate. Okay, tapos pwede mo pa rin ibenta yun, ganyan. Alright? Basta ang point dito is, isusurrender mo na yung rights sa kanya. Pero sa inyo pa rin yun ha. Sa inyo pa rin siya, kayo pa rin ang beneficial owner. Ang nakapangalan lang yung trustee. Nakapangalan lang sa trustee. Alright? Pero kayo pa rin talaga ang beneficiaries. Alright? So, then number 68, voting trust agreement. Okay, 69. In the absence of a longer period stipulated in the contract of subscription, when may a pre-incorporation subscription be allowed to be revoked? Okay? So again, in the absence of a stipulation. So ano rin nakalagay sa batas? Oops. The answer there is letter D. Okay, letter D pong sagot dyan. 6 months from the date of subscription, but before you submit the articles, you submit the document to the SEC. Kasi the moment masubmit mo na sa SEC, wala na pong atrasan niya. Alright? So remember, this applies to what? A pre-incorporation subscription. Anong ibig sabihin pag pre-incorporation? Binubuo pa lang ang corporation. May corporation na ba? Wala pa. Kaya siya pre. Okay? P-R-E. Before. Okay? Before the incorporation process. Okay? Sige. So letter D. 70. Okay, what is the nature of a certificate of stock as an instrument? Well, ito guys, dito, mas may context sana kayo kung may nego pa, yung negotiable instrument. Sana. Pero buti na lang rin tinanggal na yun. Alright? So, ito magtiwala na lang. Letter B po yan. It is quasi-negotiable. Kasi, paano ba mag-transfer ng certificate of stock? If you read the law, alright, it is transferred by endorsement coupled with delivery. Alright? Endorsement, meaning pipirmahan, tapos delivery, kailangan mo i-transfer, kailangan mo i-physically bigay yung certificate of stock dun sa pinagbentahan mo. Alright? Sige. So again, magtiwala ka na lang. A certificate of stock is quasi-negotiable. Alright? Sige. 70, letter B. 71. Okay, what is the requirement before a stock transfer agent or one engaged principally in the business of registering transfer stocks in behalf of a stock corporation operate in the Philippines? So ano ang requirement para maging stock transfer agent? Ay syempre letter A. Okay, paalam ka muna sa SEC. Okay, tapos of course, laging may bayad. Okay, wala pong libre. Okay, so before you can do this, dapat meron kang lisensya to actually engage in this business. Alright? So may secondary license ka. Alright? Ayan. It is an autonomous and duly registered, okay, association of persons with a common bond of interest okay, who have voluntarily joined together to achieve their social, economic, and cultural needs and aspirations by making equitable contributions to the capital required, patronizing their products and services, and accepting a fair share of the risks and benefits of the undertaking in accordance with the universally accepted cooperative principles. That, my friend, is the definition of a cooperative. Alright? So, just familiarize ourselves, of course, wala tayong magawa. Okay, yan talaga ang definition niya. Now, ingat ka lang ha. Okay, ingat ka lang. Kasi, well, hindi ka mag-ingat, pero take note lang pala. Sorry. Take note lang na apart from your contribution, dapat meron kayong common bond. Okay? Hindi ka pwede magbuo ng cooperative pag wala kang common bond. And hindi ka rin actually pwede sumali dyan pag wala kang, kumbaga, you do not share that common bond. Okay? And number 2, aside from your contribution to the capital, obligation mo rin mag-patronize ng product or services. Okay? Kakaiba po yan kasi di ba, syempre, kunyari sa corporation, pwede naman silent ka lang, naglagay ka lang ng pera. At sa corporation, pwede ka sumali doon even if you have nothing in common with the other shareholders. Pero sa cooperative, hindi po ganun. Kailangan may common bond. Okay, tapos, aside from the capital contribution, you are obligated to patronize the product. Alright? May reward naman yan in the form of a patronage refund. Pero, obligation. Alright? Next. What is the maximum foreign investment? Ay, 0 po yan. Okay, hindi pwede. Alright? In a cooperative, wala pong foreign investment yan. Alright? Next. What is the composition of the General Assembly of a cooperative? Alright? So, definition ulit. Shall be composed of such members who are entitled to vote. Okay, so you are part, kasi guys, yung members, pwedeng voting sa non-voting. Depende dun sa, more often than not, depende yan dun sa share na binibili mo. Now, remember lang na, pwede kang maging member na non-voting. Pero, kapag non-voting ka, hindi ka member ng General Assembly. Alright? You are a member of the cooperative, but you are not part of the General Assembly when you are a non-voting member. Alright? So remember, entitled to vote. 74, letter A. 75. Okay, what is the composition? Ay, sorry, ulit pala yun. The cooperative has 15 seats in the board of directors. Okay, a contract with the self-dealing director, okay, will be the subject matter of the meeting. Okay, in which of the following scenarios will the contract with such self-dealing director be considered perfectly valid even without ratification? So the answer here, guys, okay, ay letter D. All right, so remember lang natin na this is similar doon sa corporation, right? Sa corporation. So when there's pag self-dealing yung contract mo, it will be voidable, okay, at the option of the cooperative unless, 1, yung presence ng director ay not required to constitute a quorum. Okay, number 2, kung may quorum, the vote of the director was not necessary for approval. Okay, so hindi siya kasama sa majority of the quorum. Alright, tapos, the contract is fair and reasonable. Okay, tapos kapag member siya, kailangan approved by the General Assembly or the Board of Directors. Now, kapag hindi mo nakuha, okay, first 2 conditions, so yung presence mo for the quorum at saka yung vote mo, hindi mo nakuha yon. Alright? Kailangan yan i-ratify ng 3/4 vote ng members with voting rights. Alright? Now, kailan daw perfectly valid? Remember, dalawa po ang pinag-iisipan mo dito ha. First is the quorum, which is the minimum number required to transact official business. And number 2 is yung voting requirement, majority of the quorum. Alright? Now, itong letter A. Alright? Present directors during the self-dealing director. Present directors including the self-dealing. So kasama siya. Ilan ba ang seats? 15. So ilan ang quorum dyan? 8. Okay, 8 po ang dyan ha, 8. Alright? Now, 8, may quorum, no problem. Okay, ilan ang required vote? Okay, 8. So 9 to, ilan ang required vote? Okay, ilan ang required vote? So dapat wala siya, so 8. Ilan ang required vote ng 8? So dapat 5. 5 naman ako. Alright? Sa including pala, sa including. So, yeah. Ayun. So hindi yan. Bakit? Ay sorry, pag 8 pala dapat 5. Kasi hindi pwedeng ito kasi included siya. Okay? So technically 4 lang ito. Wala. Okay, hindi pwede. Alright? So again, no problem with quorum, pero may problem sila with yung voting kasi kulang. Again, babawasan mo ito ng isa kasi kasama yung self-dealing dyan. Next. Ito naman. Pwede ba to? Ilan ang quorum ng 15? 8. Pero ang problem, 8 lang yung nag-attend. Okay, 8 lang yung nag-attend. So, walang quorum at all. Okay? Hindi siya pwede. Okay? Kasi remember, including the self-dealing. Dapat nga hindi mo siya binibilang. Alright? So, kulang sila. Next. Ito mo ng itong letter C. May quorum ba? Meron. Kasi 15 seats, 8 lang naman ang kailangan, 11 silang dumating. Alright? Now, excuse me. Take a look. May quorum. Tingnan natin yung voting. Ilan ang required? So, including the self. So, parang 10 lang. Okay, parang 10 lang. Ilan ang required doon? Ilan ang majority ng ng 10? 5, di ba? Joke lang. 6. Alright, 6 po. Alright, 6 ang required na directors. Ilan ang bumoto? 6 din. However, including po yung self-dealing. Okay, including the self-dealing. So, ano mangyayari? Parang 5 lang yan. Kulang. Okay, kulang. Okay, kasi remember, yung majority ay based saan? Doon sa people constituting the quorum. 11 ito, or 10, kasi kasama yung self-dealing. Pag 10 kayo, 6 dapat. Ang bumoto, 6, kasama pa rin yung self-dealing. So, parang 5 lang yan. So, wala. And number 9, letter D, ito po yung tamang sagot. 15, Okay, 9 directors, no problem. Okay, no problem. So, pasok siya sa quorum. 8 lang ang bibilangin mo kasi you cannot count the self-dealing. So, 8. Ilan ang quorum ng 8? 5. Okay, 5. So, take a look, ilan yung bumoto? 6 ito, pero including the self-dealing. So, ibig sabihin, 5 directors. Nakuha mo yung quorum, nakuha mo rin yung voting. Alright? So, letter D ang sagot dito. Next. What type of cooperative is absolutely exempted from all taxes and fees imposed by the National Internal Revenue Code without qualification? Well, pag ganyan, letter A. If you do not transact with non-members or the general public. Okay, so ibig sabihin, sa members ka lang. If you only transact with members, wala kang problema sa taxation. Okay? You are exempt from all types of taxes. Alright? Again, anong requirement nun? Kailangan you are not dealing with members, with non-members, or you're not dealing with the general public. In other words, kayo-kayo lang. Sa membership nyo lang. Okay? Letter A. Alright, number 77. Okay, which type of taxes will a cooperative dealing with non-members be with? Okay, cooperative with accumulated reserves of not more than 10 million be exempted. Alright? So remember, not more than 10 million. Exempt pa rin siya sa lahat. Okay, exempt pa rin siya sa lahat. Kahit na dealing with non-members siya. Pero, of course, ang qualifier dyan is yung net savings niya or accumulated reserves niya ay not more than 10 million. Okay? Now, nagkakaroon lang naman ng issue with taxes kapag pag dealing ka with non-members and at the same time, lumampas ka na dun sa 10 million threshold. Okay, so again ha, please take note. Magkakaroon ka lang ng problem with taxes, okay, kapag nagdi-deal ka with non-members and lumampas ka ng 10 million in reserves. Okay, nagkakaroon ka ng problem dyan. Now, in our case, itong number 77 natin, okay, in our case, yung number 77 natin, okay, ano yan? Ito yung pang kailangan mo tingnan na hindi siya more than 10 million. So that only means letter D ang sagot. Exempt pa rin siya sa lahat. Alright? Sige. Next. In the winding up or liquidation of a cooperative, okay, what will happen to the subsidies, donations, legacies, grants, okay, ano ba ito? Aid, hindi po yan ano ha, aid po, tulong yan, okay, and such other assistance from any local or foreign institution, whether public or private, okay, given to such dissolved cooperative. So mga donations, okay, pag ganyan po, is cheat po mangyayari yan. Remember ha, yung donated capital lang yan ha, donated, okay, yung donated po, yun po may is cheat, alright? In favor of the republic. Pag is cheat po, ang mangyayari, magta-transfer lang yung ownership to the republic. Alright, magta-transfer lang yung ownership to the republic. Alright? Sige. Next. What is required vote for a division of a cooperative? So division, guys, it's the opposite of a merger. Alright? Mas-split siya into 2 or more. Okay? So, yun naman, 3/4. Okay? So, remember lang, guys, na most of the voting requirements in the cooperative code is 3/4. Alright? So, ang kailangan matandaan is yung ano yung mas konti. Okay? So, division is 3/4. 80. But what is the maximum amount of education and training fund? So, ano yan ha, yung allocation ng net surplus ang pinag-uusapan dito? Okay, the answer here is letter B. Pansinin, maximum, not more than 10. Okay? Tanda mabuti ha, tanda mabuti. Yung allocation po ng net surplus ay may procedure, may rules yan. Hindi pwedeng kahit saan nilalagay. Alright? So, yung unang-una, reserve fund, yan, at least 10% yun. Okay? Ito pong education and training, not more than 10. Alright? So, again ha, yung reserve fund, at least 10. Pag education and training, not more than 10. Okay? Sige. Which of the following statements is false? Okay? About the privileges of a cooperative. So, ito po, medyo ano to, okay, medyo madami-dami yung ano nito. Nakalista kasi to, okay, nakalista. Ang false po dito is letter A. Okay, letter A po ang false ha. Ito ang false, yung BSP, yung may BSP. Bakit? Kasi ang nakalagay po mismo dyan, doon sa listahan natin, cooperatives engaged in credit services or federations shall be entitled to loans, credit lines, rediscounting on their loans, notes, and other eligible papers with the Development Bank of the Philippines, Land Bank of the Philippines, and other financial institutions except the Bangko Sentral. Okay guys, except the Bangko Sentral yun. So DBP, Land Bank, other financial institutions, pero except the Bangko Sentral. So number 81 guys, our answer is letter A. So, bouncing checks. What law punishes or penalizes the issuance of worthless checks? Guys, BP 22 lang yan. Okay, nag-iisa bukod tangi. Alright? Sige. 93. Which of the following is a punishable act under BP 22? Now guys, ang sagot natin dito letter C. Okay, either. So, bakit either? Hindi po kasi pwedeng sabay mangyari yan. Okay, kasi tingnan mo, magkaiba eh. Diba, tingnan mo ha? Ito, tingnan mo yung letter B. Does not have sufficient funds or credit at the time. Okay? Tapos itong letter A, tingnan mo, does not, at the time of issue, does not have sufficient funds. Yung letter B, tingnan mo. Sufficient funds when you draw or issue the check. Magkaibang bagay yun. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya pwedeng sabay mangyari. Kaya po ang sagot natin, letter C, either lang. So, you can be doing letter A or letter B. But you cannot do both at the same time. Okay? Sige. Number 94. Which of the following is not an element of a violation? Right? So, letter D po ang sagot. Kasi remember, this is mala prohibita. So, you do not need criminal intent Okay, on the part of the drawer. Okay, hindi kailangan ng criminal intent. Number 95. Which of the following is not a duty of the drawee bank under BP 22? Okay? So, yan po guys, na ano na ito ha, ibig sabihin na dishonor na. Pag na dishonor, ang ibig sabihin nun, hindi po hindi tinanggap ng bangko, hindi niya in-encash, hindi niya binalik kasi walang pondo. Alright? So, the answer here is letter D. Okay, the answer here is letter D. Alright? Hindi naman kailangan i-report sa AMLA kagad yan. Okay? Hindi yan i-report sa AMLA. Kasi remember, of course, we know the requirement for AMLA. And wala po sa bouncing checks law, wala sa BP 22 yan. So, hindi niya due. Okay? So again, listahan po ito. Try to familiarize ourselves para po kapag nakita natin sa exam, ay meron tayong i-recall. Alright? Sige. 96. What is the quantum of evidence required to sue or file a criminal case for criminal offense involving BP 22? So ito po, ang tinatanong dito is, nasa fiscal ka, ano yung kailangang ebidensya para i-file ni fiscal sa korte? To file a criminal case in court. Okay? Kasi pag BP 22 po, pumupunta ka muna sa fiscal. Tapos yung fiscal, mag-determine siya, okay, kung ano yung, kung meron bang substance yung mga pinagsasabi mo dun sa complaint affidavit mo, ang kailangan niyang ebidensya na makuha or makita dun sa mga sinabit mong papel is letter A, probable cause. Okay? Prima facie evidence. Yun lang. Okay? Pag clear and convincing, sa fraud yan. Kapag preponderance, sa civil cases yan. Pag proof beyond reasonable doubt, ito po, evidence ito required sa criminal case, yes. Pero para po makapag-convict ka na. Para makulong ka sa isang criminal case, proof beyond reasonable doubt. Pero, para mag-file lang ng criminal case, probable cause lang po ang kailangan. Alright? Again, para makapag-file, probable cause. Para makakulong, proof beyond reasonable doubt. Alright? So, 96, letter A ang sagot. 97. The introduction in evidence of any unpaid and dishonored check having the drawee's refusal to pay stamped or written thereon or attached thereto with the reason therefore aforesaid shall be prima facie evidence of the following elements of the crime except knowledge. Alright? Yung knowledge kasi iba yun. Siyempre, hindi naman mapapatunayan yun ito. Alright? Yan po yung yung may ano tawag dito, yung mayroong presumption na kapag 90 days hindi siya nag-maintain ng ng sufficient funds, alright? So, pero everything else mapapatunayan na nung dishonored check. Ito, yung making issuance of the check, due presentment at saka dishonor. Okay, mapapatunayan na yun. Pero yung knowledge hindi kasama. Alright? Kasi remember, kapag may criminal case kayo, meron kayong pinatutunayan doon. Alright? Yung elements ng crime. Alright? Sige. So, number 97, letter D. 98. What is the legal obligation on the part of the drawer, okay, of a funded check in order to exempt himself from criminal liability? Okay? So, ito po, yung, syempre, pag nag-issue ka ng cheque, kahit na may pondo yun, kailangan daw i-maintain mo pa rin siya within a period of 90 days from the maturity. So, hindi lang po dun sa, kunyari, may date yung check, yun po ang maturity date, di ba? Yung date mismo ng cheque, yun ang maturity. So, ang obligation mo daw to maintain sufficient funds, hindi lang po dun sa araw na yun. Okay? Hindi lang dun sa araw na yun. Kunyari, December 23 ang maturity. Hindi, wag pala, baka, ano yun. Kunyari, June 15 ang maturity date ng cheque mo. Yung kailangan mo mag-maintain ng sufficient funds sa cheque na yan. Okay? Hindi lang po sa June 15. Kasi doon yan pwedeng i-encash or i-deposit, di ba? Doon sa June 15 yan. Kailangan daw i-maintain mo yung sufficient funds not only on June 15, but for a period of 90 days from the maturity of the check. Okay? So, bibilang ka pa ng 90 days from June 15, dapat daw fully funded yun. Anytime na i-deposit or i-encash yung cheque, dapat may pondo. Okay? Yun pa ang obligation mo. Letter A. Alright? Hindi lang po doon sa maturity date ng cheque, kundi 90 days thereafter. Dapat fully funded yan. Okay? 99. Okay, what is the government instrumentality created in 1963? Okay, to ensure that deposits of all banks are entitled to the benefit of insurance and considered as an attached agency of Department of Finance. Okay, mali yan. Okay, hindi na po Department of Finance ito. Okay, yan po ay ano na siya. Attached po siya sa Bangko Sentral. Alright? So, hindi na po Department of Finance ha. Okay, pakiano na lang, hindi na po Department of Finance. Yan po ay Bangko Sentral na lang. Pero ang point lang is, it is a government instrumentality. Okay? Now, with corporate powers. Tapos ang batas niya is 3591. Pero hindi na po sa Department of Finance ito attached. Okay, hindi na. So, letter C. PDIC. 100. Which of the following is not insured by PDIC? Okay, letter C po yan. Kasi yan po yung obligations of the bank, okay, that are payable outside the Philippines. Okay, obligations of the bank payable outside the Philippines. Hindi pwede yun. Alright? Lahat po ng iba, well, deposit yan. Okay, deposit lahat yan. Ito pong letter C, deposit siya, yes, pero outside the Philippines kasi siya, payable. Okay, nandun kasi yung deposit mo, so outside the Philippines. So, hindi po kasali yan, ha? 101. In case of a joint account between a juridical person and a natural person, who shall be entitled to the maximum inter-deposit of a joint account? The juridical person. Bakit? Kasi remember po, yung joint account, normally, ang assumption yan, hahatiin yung insurance, kung ilan kayo. Okay, yung maximum insurance is 500, of course. Tapos, normally, as a general rule, kapag joint account, hahatiin yon kung ilan kayo. However, kapag yung magkahati ay juridical person and natural person, ang assumption ng batas natin is ano? lahat po ng pera doon ay sa juridical person. Alright? So, kung yung juridical person lang ang may-ari talaga niyan, I mean, ang assumption kasi yung juridical person lang ang may-ari, therefore, yung juridical person lang ang entitled sa 500,000. Alright? So, letter A po ang sagot natin. Alright, next. What is the effect of payment by PDIC of insured deposit? Ano bang effect ng payment? Subrogation. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, babayaran niya yung depositor, tapos yung lahat ng karapatan ng depositor against the closed bank ay mamanahin na ni PDIC. Diba? This is similar to your concept in Oblicon. Okay? Yung change of creditor. So, yun ang mangyayari. Alright? Mamanahin ni PDIC lahat ng karapatan ni depositor as regards the closed bank. Okay? Pero syempre, up to the extent of payment lang. Alright? Kung kunyari, nagbayad si PDIC ng 200,000 lang, up to 200,000 lang. Binayaran niya yung maximum, o di hanggang doon lang sa max. All the rest, yung depositor pa rin naman. They refer to money or funds placed in the bank that can be withdrawn on the depositor's order or demand. Well, definition lang, deposit. Alright, definition lang. 104. Under Republic Act 1405, what is the nature of bank deposits and investment in government bonds? Okay, so secrecy of bank deposits po yung Republic Act 1405. And the answer is, as a general rule, they are absolutely confidential. Okay, as a general rule ha. So ibig sabihin, this is subject to a number of exceptions. Okay, sige. Next. What is the mode of payment by PDIC of claims of depositors from a closed bank? So, paano rin nagbabayad si PDIC? Ito guys yung nasa batas ha. Ito yung nasa batas. But, sige, ito muna. So, D yan, either A or B. So, by cash or making a transfer deposit. Yung cash, of course, pera. Tapos yung transfer deposit is what? Magbubukas ng bank account, tapos doon na ilalagay yung pera mo. Okay? Kasi, ang assumption, once again, assumption dyan, ilalagay mo rin naman sa bangko ulit. So, lipat na lang natin doon. Now, yan po yung nasa batas ha. Yung nasa batas. But in reality, paano nagbabayad si PDIC? Cheque. Okay, cheque. Or transfer deposit. Okay, tama naman yun. May mga bago. Pwede siyang mag-postal money order, pwede na rin siyang mag-electronic money transfer. Okay, pero, again, for your purposes of the SIPALE, yung gamitin mo na lang kung ano yung nasa batas. Alright? Ano yung nasa batas? According to the PDIC law, it is payment by cash or a transfer deposit. So the answer for this number is A or B, either way. Okay, which of the following inquiries will be considered a violation of the Bank Secrecy Law? Local currency ha? Local currency. So Republic Act 1405. So, the answer there, guys, is letter D. Okay, letter D. Inquiry of the Secretary of Justice for, nakita mo naman, persecution. Okay? Tina-target niya talaga. So, bakit ganun? Yung ating pong bank secrecy law, may mga exceptions talaga dyan. Okay, doon sa batas mismo meron. However, as time passed, kasi medyo matagal na yung batas na yon, habang lumipas po ang panahon, nakadevelop na po ng mga iba pang exception, either from rulings of the court, or, and may mga bago na kasing batas na naipasa. So yung mga bagong batas na yon, of course, iba na kasi ang context, iba na kasi ang panahon ngayon, nagdagdag sila ng mga exceptions sa bank secrecy. Okay? So, yung letter A, it's ABLA. Letter B, ito po yung sa tax code. Okay, sa tax code. And letter C, siyempre si PDIC. Alright, pwede. Alright? So again ha, ito pong letter D, wala po yan. Okay? Whether in the bank secrecy law itself or doon sa mga ibang batas na subsequently ipinasa, wala po yan. Bawal talaga yan. Next. Which of the following disclosures will be considered a violation? So alin daw yung hindi kasama? Ano yung hindi kasama sa exception? Letter B. Okay? Insider information. Kasi bawal yan gawin. Okay, bawal yan gawin. Wala yan, hindi yan Hindi yan, ang tawag dito, hindi yan covered ng exceptions to bank secrecy. And in fact, kapag walang disclosure, ay kapag hindi ka informed yan, violation rin yan, ng data privacy. Alright? So, letter A, guys, unclaimed balances, nire-report talaga yan. Alright? Letter C, turnover to the, garnishment is an exception also. Okay? Deposit, tapos perpetration of anomalies, competent court, so may subpina, pwede. Alright? Now, remember lang guys, yung mga exception to bank secrecy, listahan po yan. Alright? So, I strongly suggest that you familiarize yourself with the list. Alright? Makikita naman yan. Saka, daanan mo lang multiple times, you will get familiar with it. Okay? Para po, pag nakita mo sa SIPALE, syempre may marirecord. Right? Next. A government employee purchased DBP bonds. So, bonds ng government instrumentality. Alright? Bangko ng gobyerno yan. Total value of 100,000 pesos, receives an annual interest from, okay? Kasi ganoon naman ang bonds, di ba? Merong interest yan. Okay? Unless zero coupon bonds. Pero normally yung bonds may interest talaga. Under the Bank Secrecy Law, the investment of government employee may be inquired into even without the order of a competent court. Syempre, none of the above. Okay? Hindi pwede. Okay? Kasi, hindi naman yan kasama dun sa exceptional cases. Okay? Hindi kasama ha, hindi kasama. Again, familiarity with the list will go a long way. Alright? Sige. Next. Covered by the Bank Secrecy 1405. Domestic po, kasi alam mo bakit hina-highlight natin yung difference ng domestic at saka nung foreign currency? Kasi magkaiba po ang magkaiba ang exceptions nun. Magkaiba ang exception. So what's the answer here? Disclosing the amount of a depositor to a duly authorized BI examiner who is examining his income tax liability. So hindi po yan pwede. Okay, bakit? Kasi remember, there are only limited instances when the Bureau of Internal Revenue can actually check your bank account. Okay, kailan lang yun? Di ba remember? Kapag ikaw ay may inability to pay, compromise, determining your gross estate, okay? Tapos, pag may tax information exchange. So yun lang. Other than that, wala po. Alright? Sige. Ayun, this one is exactly what I was talking about. So kailan daw pwedeng kailan daw empowered si Commissioner of Internal Revenue na mag-inspect ng bank account mo? Again, compromise. Financial incapacity. Okay, syempre kailangan mo patunayan yun, di ba, na hindi ka mapagbayad dahil wala ka ng pera. Next, gross estate. Bakit? Kasi kasama po yung bank account, di ba, sa computation ng gross estate para ma-determine, of course, yung net estate tsaka yung taxable, yung tax liability mo. Request to exchange of information, okay? And letter D, hindi nakasali yan. Okay, hindi nakasali yan. So there are only 3 instances when the Commissioner of Internal Revenue can inspect your bank account. Okay? Next, under 1405, bank deposits and investment in government bonds may be inquired into in the exceptional cases, etc. So ito po, ang tinatanong dito is ano yung mga exception na nasa batas mismo. Okay? What are the exceptions inside Republic Act 1405? Kasi again, dalawa pong set ng exceptions ang meron tayo, ha? Yung nasa batas mismo at saka yung mga na-develop na lang ng ibang batas or ng mga ruling ng korte. So outside the law, meron pa. So dito sa question na to, tinatanong lang sa'yo, ano yung mga nandun sa 1405 mismo? Alright? So first, written permission or consent. Alright? So ito, nasa batas yan. Siyempre, karapatan mo yan, pwede mong i-waive. Pwede i-waive mo, pero in writing. Alright? Next, impeachment. Nandun din yan. Okay? Nandun din yan sa batas natin. Right? Impeachment. So nilista lang natin dito kung sino yung mga officers na subject to impeachment para at least, again, para ikaw ay may idea. Para kapag nakita mo sa exam, at least, meron kang ma-record. Alright? Next, order of a competent court in cases of bribery or dereliction of duty. Tama yan. And of course, letter D is not one of the exceptions. Alright? Now remember, ito pong tinatanong is yung nasa loob ng Republic Act 1405. Wala po dito. Okay? Ngayon, ito pong tax evasion currently, yan ay, tawag dito, isa na sa predicate crimes ng AMLA. Okay, kasama na sa AMLA yung tax evasion. Meron lang threshold, okay, 25 million. Alright, meron lang threshold, pero still, ngayon po, it is possible na kapag tax evasion ng predicate crime, ay pwede ka nang ma-subject sa bank inquiry. Pero under AMLA yon. Under 1405, wala pa rin yan. That's why our answer here is letter D. Okay, so ito pong letter D, hindi siya kasali sa 1405. Pero nandun siya sa AMLA. Okay? Sige. What is the penalty? Ito po, wala tayong magagawa. Familiarity lang talaga. Letter A po. Again, ito pong bank secrecy na to, remember ha, may kulong yan, may multa pa, or even pwedeng pareho. So ilan ang kulong? Not more than 5 years. Ilan ang multa? Not more than 20,000. Pwede yung either, pwedeng both. Okay? Next. Which of the following is not considered a punishable offense? Considered an offense punishable as money laundering. Alright? Letter D po. Okay, wala. Yung iba dyan, okay, ay specific po, nandun mismo yan. Okay, transacting, converting, concealing, nandun yan lahat. Okay, pero syempre, kung alam mo lang, hindi siya punishable as money laundering. Alright? Unlawful ha? Unlawful activity. Sige. Next. Which of the following is not a predicate crime? Yung predicate crime po, pag ginamit yung word na yan, ang ibig sabihin lang nun is, yan po yung unlawful activities. Di ba remember, may listahan tayo ng unlawful activities? Ang tawag po doon, the technical names of those things as a group are predicate crime. Okay, so dapat may unlawful activity muna or may predicate crime muna bago magkaroon ng money laundering. So in other words, if there is no unlawful activity, there is no predicate crime, there is no money laundering. So, alright, so listahan po yun. Again, I implore you, please familiarize yourself with the list. Alright, so ano raw yung hindi predicate crime? Letter B, adultery. Okay, adultery po ay pag-apid. Alright, sige. Next, is not a predicate crime ulit. Alright, so no problem. Listahan na naman, letter D, homicide. So remember, yung homicide guys, hindi yan predicate crime. Ano yung predicate crime na pagpatay ng tao? Okay, homicide is pagpatay ng tao pero hindi siya predicate crime. Ano yung pagpatay ng tao na magiging predicate crime ng AMLA? That is your murder. Okay, pag murder po, yung nakalagay, ayun, predicate crime na ng, ng money laundering. Okay? Sige. Which of the following is a predicate crime of, again, money laundering? Letter C. Alright? So, lang ha, E-Commerce Act of is money laundering. Okay? So, predicate crime ng money laundering yung violation ng E-Commerce Act. Alright? So, BP22 definitely wala. Data privacy, wala yan kasi nung ipinasa yung original na money laundering act, wala namang data privacy law pa nun. Now, careful ka lang dito po sa letter B. Bakit? Kasi yung Revised Corporation Code, violation yan, hindi yung predicate crime. Pero, violation po ng SRC or ng Securities Regulation Code. Okay? Ang violation po ng Securities Regulation Code ay predicate crime. Alright? Again, violation ng Revised Corporation Code is not a predicate crime of money laundering. However, violation of the SRC or the Securities Regulation Code is a predicate crime for money laundering. Okay, paki-note lang po yan. Alright? Sige. to a type of transaction that shall be reported by the covered person to the Anti-Money Laundering Council because it breaches the quantitative threshold. Yan po, pag quantitative threshold, yan po ay covered transaction. So remember ha, yung quantitative threshold po natin, lahat in excess po yun. Okay, in excess of what? 500K, 1 million, 5 million, at saka 7.5 million. In excess. Alright? Quantitative threshold, does it matter kung anong circumstances as long as lumampas ka dun sa sinabi nating amount. In excess of 500,000, 1 million, 5 million, and 7.5 million. All. Next, type of transaction that shall still be reported by the covered person even if the transaction does not reach the quantitative threshold, okay, by reason of the unusual nature. Okay, so remember, hindi nag-breach ng quantitative, so hindi lumampas ng 500, 1 million, 5 million, 7.5, pero i-report mo pa rin dahil siya ay suspicious. Okay, so the suspicious transactions, you don't look at the quantitative threshold anymore, but titingnan mo na yung circumstances. Ano yung circumstances na yun? Okay, so yan ay, alright, so ano yun? There is no underlying legal or trade obligation, no economic justification, the client is not properly identified, the amount involved is not commensurate with the business or financial capacity. Taking into account all circumstances, it may be perceived that the client's transaction is structured to avoid being subject of reporting requirements. Any circumstance that is observed to deviate from the profile, okay? Tapos, in any way related to unlawful activities that is about to be, is being, or has been committed, or any transaction that is similar or analogous to any of the foregoing. Alright? So, pag ganyan po, yung circumstances ang tinitingnan. Alright? Again, no underlying obligation, no economic justification. Client is not properly identified, not commensurate to the business or financial capacity. It is structured to avoid the reporting requirements. Okay? It deviates from the profile of the client or past transaction. Tapos, it is related to an unlawful activity that is about to be, or being, or has been committed, or any transaction that is analogous to the foregoing. Okay? So, pag pinakinggan mo yung listahan na yun, again guys, try to familiarize ourselves, yun po ay suspicious. I-report mo kahit magkano pa yung amount na yan, as long as it is suspicious. Okay? Next. Which of the following is not a covered person, is therefore not required to report? Okay? Any transaction. So, hindi ka covered person. Sino? Letter D. Okay? Hindi po covered transaction yan. Right? Hindi. Right? So, wala silang obligation to report to the Anti-Money Laundering. Next. It refers to a protection option which is designed to protect innovators that are not sufficiently inventive to meet the inventive threshold required for the standard of patents. Yung invention talaga, okay? Invention. Wala kang inventive step, in other words. It may be a machine, it may be a useful machine, implement, tools, product, composition, process, improvement, or part of the same that is of practical utility, novelty, so bago, and of industrial applicability. So ano lang ang kulang mo? Inventive step. Okay? Wala ka lang inventive step. Ano yan? Utility model. Okay, so tandaan mo lang guys, meron kasing tatlong klaseng patent. Yung invention talaga, tapos merong design patent, mamaya yung industrial design, makita mo. And ito, yung utility model. Ang tawag nila minsan dyan ay petty patent. Okay, petty patent ang tawag nila dyan minsan. Again, lahat ng qualities ng patent meron ka, except lang ano, wala ka lang inventive step. Alright? Sige. Oops. It refers to any composition of lines, colors, any three-dimensional form, whether it is associated with lines or colors, provided that such composition gives a special appearance and can serve as a pattern for industrial products or handicraft. Simply put, it is that aspect of a useful article that is ornamental or aesthetic. Okay, so kailangan useful siya na nilagyan mo lang ng aesthetic qualities. Alright? And this is your design patent, or what we call in the Philippines, industrial design. Alright? So wala tayong magawa dito guys, ano lang talaga to? Memory work, or at least familiarity. Okay? Sige. Next, which of the following may become the subject matter of a patent application? Alright? Discoveries, hindi pwede yan. You cannot patent those. Alright? Saka yung mga scientific theory, mathematics, hindi pwede yan. Schemes, mental acts, doing business, playing games, programs for computers, hindi pwede yan ha. Hindi pwede i-patent yan. Yung program for computer, sa ibang bansa guys, yung programs for computers, may way para siya i-patent. Sa ibang bansa ha, pero dito hindi. Okay, dito, pagka program for computers, yan ay subject of copyright. Dito ha, dito. Pero sa ibang bansa, may paraan sila eh. Okay? Pero huwag nyo na masyado pansinin. Next, methods for treatment of the human or animal body by surgery. Eh, syempre hindi mo pwede i-patent yun. Alright? Lastly, yung microorganisms, okay? Hindi mo ano yan. Yan po ay pwede mong ipapatent. Okay? So, yan po ay nasa section, one of the subparagraphs of section 22 of the Intellectual Property Code. Alright? Nakalagay kasi mismo, plant varieties, tapos animal breeds, hindi raw pwede ipapatent, but nakalagay, this provision shall not apply to microorganisms, non-biological, and microbiological processes. Yan po pwedeng ipatent yan. Again, microorganism, non-biological process, and microbiological process. Alright? So yan po pwedeng ipatent ha. Ingat ka lang. Alright? Ingat ka lang. Next. If two or more persons have made an invention separately and independently, okay, who shall own the right to the patent where two or more applications were filed at the same for the same invention? Now, kapag sabay kayo, okay, remember independently ha, kasi syempre pagka pareho kayo, maging joint yung application. Now, independently and separately of each other, sino raw ang magkakaroon ng right to the patent? The applicant who has the earliest filing date, okay, doon dito, or the earliest priority date. Yung priority date, guys, lulutang lang yan kapag meron kang foreign application. Alright? Kung meron kang foreign application, you have to apply not for a filing date, but a priority date. Alright? Sige. Earliest ha, syempre, ang point lang is first to file. Syempre. Next, this test of patent infringement means that infringement also takes place when a device appropriates a prior invention by incorporating innovative concepts and, although with some modification and change, ito po yung susi dyan, perform substantially the same function in substantially the same way to achieve substantially the same result. Alright? Pag nakita mo yan, that is the doctrine of equivalence. Okay? Yung literal infringement kasi, yung letter A, ginaya mo talaga. Okay? Exactly the same. Pero kapag ginaya mo lang yung innovative concept, pero it performs substantially the function, substantially the same way, and to achieve substantially the same result, doctrine of equivalence. Yan. And that is still considered patent infringement. Okay? Next. It is intellectual property that refers to any visible sign designated as such in the application and capable of distinguishing origin or any other common characteristic, including quality of goods, different enterprises which use the sign under the control of the registered owner of the collective mark. Nilagay yung sagot, collective mark. Anong point lang dyan? Ito po. Okay? Common origin or common characteristic of different enterprises under the control of the registered owner. So merong isa pong intention ito, gagamitin mo for a lot of things yung mark mo. Alright? So again ha, familiarity na lang to, wala tayong magagawa, these are definitions. Okay? So 125, for this question at least, the answer is letter B. Next, which of the following marks registered before the intellectual property office for protection? Alin daw yung pwede? Alright, alin yung pwede? The answer guys, letter B. Tingnan mo na lang. Immoral deceptive, syempre hindi pwede yan. Alright? Letter C. Flag or coat of arms of the Philippines or foreign nation or simulation thereof, hindi mo pwedeng ano yan ha? Hindi mo yan pwedeng ipa-trademark. Bakit? Hindi wala nang pwedeng gumamit ng flag ng Pilipinas. Alright? Hindi pwede. Foreign nation, mas lalo na yan kasi hindi naman yan sa atin. Alright? Now, marks identical to a registered mark belong to a different proprietor or a mark earlier, hindi pwede rin. Bakit? Kasi may nauna na sa'yo. So, hindi pwede. Bakit yung letter B pwede? Kasi, nakita nyo, unlikely to mislead the public. Okay? Kasi remember, yung trademark guys, ang dyan is dapat merong, di ba yung para sa infringement, merong likelihood of confusion. Alright? Also, hindi rin pwedeng misleading yung mark mo. Okay? So, letter B is the only positive quality that we have. Alright? So, again guys, itong mga ganito, yung mga questions like this, really the best way for you to be able to answer them is to familiarize ourselves with the list. Kasi listahan din po ito. Okay, listahan lang po siya. It's a long list in the Intellectual Property Code na dapat at least man lang nadaanan natin. Ang rule ko nga dyan, dapat nadaanan mo at least twice. Okay, para at least, pag nakita mo sa exam, merong memories na matitrigger. Kasi I'm sure merong mga words dyan na maaalala mo. Alright? Of course, if you can memorize everything, go ahead. Okay? Pero for a vast majority of people, I think familiarity will be the best way to go. Alright? Sige. Next. It refers to a government agency which is considered an independent body entrusted to administer and implement the provisions of the Data Privacy Act. Okay? So sino yon? Ingat ha. National Privacy Commission. Alright? National Privacy Commission. NPC. Alright? Sila yan ha. Next. It refers to a system of generating, sending, receiving, storing, otherwise processing electronic data messages or electronic documents, and includes the computer system and other similar device for which data is recorded, transmitted, stored, and any procedure relating to the foregoing. Ano po yun? Okay? Information and Communication System. ICS. Alright? So, it refers to the system. Okay? Okay, system po yan ha. Information and Communication System. Again, wala tayong magawa, definition of terms. Alright, next. Okay, it refers to a person or organization who controls the collection, holding, processing, use of personal information, including a person who instructs another to collect, hold, use, transfer, etc. So, dalawang pinag-usapan dito ha. This person can control, okay, the collection, or this person can instruct another to collect. Okay, sino to? It is the personal information controller. Alright? Controls or instructs another, okay, to collect, hold, etc. Now, remember lang guys na definition na naman yan. Alright? Now, be careful, alright? Be careful kasi, okay, mag-iingat po tayo. Bakit? Kasi remember na merong exclusion yan. Sinasabi, the term excludes a person who performs such functions as instructed by another. So, ibig sabihin, pag inutusan ka lang, you are not a personal information controller. Alright? And number two, an individual. Okay, individual, so tao, who collects, holds, etc. in connection with personal, family, or household affairs. So, technically, kumukuha ka ng data, okay, nagpa-process ka ng personal information, pero individual ka, tapos para saan mo pinaprocess? Personal, family, or household affairs. Kapag ganon, you are not a personal information computer. Alright? Again, guys, yan po ay definition of terms. We have to be familiar with the term. Alright? Sige. Next, is not considered sensitive personal information. The answer there is letter D. Alright? Yung sensitive personal information po, again, yan ay nasa batas lang. Definition na naman siya. Okay? So it is something that can humiliate you. Alright? It can be used to discriminate against you. It is given to you by the government. Yan yung mga information na pwede. Alright? So again, tingnan mo itong health, education, etc. That can be used to discriminate. To humiliate you. Pwede kang mapahiya kapag nalaman yan. Letter B. Okay, ito po, issued to you by the government. Peculiar to you. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Unique yan tayo. Okay, tama yung social security number. Yung SSS number mo, ikaw lang meron nun. Okay, walang may ibang nag-share nun, ikaw lang. And ito po, information specifically kept established by executive order or act of Congress to be classified. Alright? So ano nga uli ang point natin? Sensitive personal information, guys, it is covered by a definition. We need to familiarize ourselves with the definition. Alright? Sige. 31. Who shall assist the Privacy Commissioner at the NPC? Ay, syempre, meron siyang deputy. Okay, yung deputy po, dalawa yan. Letter A, ha? Letter A ang sagot. Deputy ay dalawa. Data processing systems at saka isa policy and planning. Alright? Siyempre, may saysay kung bakit dalawa sila. Magkaiba po ang kanilang purpose. Magkaiba ang kanilang responsibility. Yung isa sa data processing system, yung isa sa policy and planning. Okay? Next, not a qualification. Well, letter D. You don't need to do this. Alright? Pero siyempre, kung meron ka niyan, wala rin namang masama doon. Okay? Baka nga makatulong pa sa'yo pag namimili na kung sino yung i-appoint. Okay? Pero siyempre, doon sa batas mismo, yung minimum requirements, ay hindi kasali yan. Okay? Sige. Not a right of the data subject. Again guys, listahan po ito. Okay, listahan ito. Pag tinignan mo yung listahan doon, yung letter D lang po ang hindi mo makikita. Right? To question the decision made by the controller, okay, regarding an act of management or an act of administration of the corporation. Wala tayong, as a data subject, wala tayong magagawa dyan. Alright? So, again guys, dito sa data privacy, maraming listahan dito. So you need to familiarize yourselves with those enumeration. Kasi wala tayong magagawa. Alright? We really need to, kasi syempre, memorization is out of the question already, kung ngayon ka pa lang mag-start, alright? But familiarity can still be achieved. Alright? Ulit-ulit lang, nabasa. Alright? Sige. Next, refers to a person who is who is intended by the originator to receive the electronic data message or electronic document. So, siya yung intended recipient. Pero hindi po recipient ang tawag doon. Okay? The intended recipient of the originator is called the addressee. Okay? Ikaw yung gustong padalhan ng originator. Yung originator po yung nagpapadala. Alright? So, yung gustong padalhan ng originator is called the addressee. So, in other words, baka lang po lumabas sa question, the intended recipient of the originator is called the addressee. Okay? Sige. Next, it refers to information generated, sent, received, other similar means. Information. That is your electronic data message. Okay? So, information generated, sent, received, or stored by electronic, optical, or similar means is the electronic data message. Okay? Next. It refers to any distinctive characteristics and or sound in electronic form representing the identity, okay? Representing the identity of a person and attached to or logically associated with the electronic data message or electronic document or any methodology or procedure employed or adopted by a person and executed or adopted by such person with the intention of authenticating or approving an electronic data message or electronic document. Yan po ay electronic signature. Okay? Now, minsan lang guys, we have to make a distinction. Yung electronic signature talaga refers to the first part. Yung distinctive characteristic to identify the person. Ngayon, magpansin mo may or, di ba? Or any methodology or procedure to authenticate. Digital signature po, technically ang tawag dyan. Alright? Yung methodology or procedure to authenticate or approve, digital signature ang tawag dyan, technically. Okay, pero under the law, okay, under our law, they both fall under the definition of an electronic signature. Okay? So if you notice guys, puro definition ito. So please, again, paulit-ulit ako, familiarity is key. Alright? It refers to a system intended for and capable of generating, sending, receiving, storing, processing electronic data messages or electronic documents, and includes the computer system or other similar device by or in which data is recorded or stored, and any procedure relating to the recording or storage of the electronic data message or electronic document. Of course, ano yan? Okay, ano yan? That one, guys, is your information and communication system. Alright? Information and communication system yan. Okay? Again, definition na naman. Next, it refers to information or representation of information, data, figures, symbols, or other modes of written expression described or however represented, by which a right is established, an obligation is extinguished, or by which a fact may be proved and affirmed, which is received, recorded, transmitted, processed, received, or produced electronically. So pag po ganito na, Ang tatandaan mo, right is established, obligation extinguished, a fact may be proved on the firm. That one is your electronic document. Okay? Electronic document. Next. It refers to a secret code which secures and defends sensitive information that cross over public channels into a form decipherable only with a matching electronic key. Eh, syempre, matching electronic key, huwag po tayo magkakamali, electronic key ang sagot. Alright? So, electronic key is used to encrypt, okay, it's part of the encryption process. So, meaning, hindi po siya mababasa unless may yung recipient merong matching electronic key also. Alright? Sige. Refers to a person by whom or on whose behalf the electronic document purports to have been created, generated, and or sent. Okay, ito yan ha. A person by whom or on whose behalf the electronic document has been created, generated, or sent. Sino yung gumawa? Okay, sino yung nagpadala? Or para kanino mo ginawa? Para kanino mo pinadala? That is the originator. So remember ha, yung electronic document mo, manggagaling sa originator, ipapadala mo saan? Sa addressee. Alright? Addressee. Which of the following is not covered by the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018. Alright? None of the above yan. Okay? So lahat covered, lahat po ng nasa, take note lang lahat po ng part ng executive department. Okay? Executive department and LGUs. Okay? So ibig sabihin, yung judiciary, hindi kasali, yung legislative, yung Congress, hindi yung kasali. Lahat lang po ng nasa executive department. Next. Which of the following is false regarding the Anti-Red Tape Act, okay, or Ease of Doing Business? Dati kasi Anti-Red Tape Act yung tawag sa kanya. Alright? Now, lahat po yan tama. Listahan lang. Okay, listahan lang yan. Now, the only thing that is wrong is this one. Okay, letter D. Okay, bakit mali yung letter D? Kasi dapat po, ang in charge dyan sa, ano tawag dito? Yung Central Business Portal na yan is DICT, Department of Information and Communication Technology. Hindi po DOST. Okay, so mali yung DOST ha, dapat DICT. Okay? Sige. It refers to a single common site or location or a single online website or portal designated for the BPLS of an LGU to, para saan? To receive and process application, receive payments also, and to issue approved licenses, clearances, permits, and authorization. Yan po ay business one-stop shop. Yung boss. Okay, boss. Okay, yung boss na yan, guys, again, para saan? BPLS yan, ha? Okay? Excuse me. So, business one-stop shop. Okay? Okay, definition na naman. Applications or requests submitted by applicants or requesting parties to government office which necessitate, ito na, evaluation in the resolution of, nakita niyo po, complicated issues. Alright? Complicated issues. Pag complicated issues, syempre, ang tawag doon, complex transaction. Alright? Sige. It refers to an application which requires the use of technical knowledge, specialized skills, or training in the processing or evaluation. So, pag ganito, guys, aabangan mo, technical knowledge, specialized skills, or training. Kasi, yan ay highly technical application. Yung kanina, complicated issues. Alright? Ngayon, it requires technical knowledge, specialized skills, or training. Alright? Next. Ito naman, ano na? Require ministerial action, inconsequential issues. Okay? So, ministerial or inconsequential. Ano yun? Simple. So guys, we have to be mindful of the difference between the three. Alright? So, alam mo kung kailan siya complex, alam mo kung kailan highly technical, at syempre, alam natin kung kailan dapat siya simple na. Okay? Definition po. Again, I implore you to familiarize yourself. Okay? This is a policy that prohibits the government officer or employee to have contact with an applicant. Okay, applicant yan. Contact with an applicant. Except preliminary assessment of the request and evaluation of the sufficiency of the submitted requirements. And necessary with any requesting party concerned an application or request. Alright, necessary. So, preliminary assessment or necessary. Yan lang ang exception. Saan ba? Zero contact policy. Alright? Kasi again guys, normally dito kasi nagkakaroon ng opportunities for kalokohan. So, what are they trying to do? They are trying to institutionalize na wala dapat kayong contact kasi normally naman list lang naman ng requirements, di ba? May listahan lang, may checklist. So, technically, so ideally, dapat pag nasabit mo yung checklist na yon, dapat wala ng discretion. Okay? Maliban na lang, yun nga, kapag may mga kinakailangan talaga siya, necessary siya dun sa process itself, or during the preliminary assessment. Siyempre, titingnan kung kulang yung papel mo. Okay, na binigay. Kasi, bakit kailangan kayong may contact doon? Kasi remember, di ba kapag kulang yung documents mo, the government office needs to inform you kung ano yung kulang mo para makapag-comply ka. Okay? Para makapag-comply ka. Okay? So again, this is your zero contact policy. Again, this is a definition that we need to familiarize ourselves with. Okay, next. It refers to a framework of rules, systems, processes in the corporation that governs the performance by the board of directors and management of their respective duties and responsibilities. All right? That is the definition of corporate governance. All right? That is the definition of corporate governance, mga kapatid. Next. Which of the following companies is not covered by the revised code of corporate governance? Okay guys, yung revised code of corporate governance, again, nagkaroon na ng mga ano dyan? Nagkaroon na ng ano ha? Ng subsequent issuances. Alright, yung para sa listed corp, yung sa publicly listed corporation, saka para dun sa mga registered issuers. Alright? So alin lang ang hindi covered dito? Ay syempre, yung small and medium enterprise. Alright? Hindi yan kasali. Pero again, grantees of secondary licenses, revised code yan. Sales equity or debt securities, registered issuer. Ito, public company ito. Public company itong isa. Yung 250, 200, 100, public company yan. Tapos may isa pa, na covered, yung mga listed sa stock exchange. Alright? Sige. Oops. Next, how many independent directors? Okay, how many independent directors must be present in a corporation covered by the revised code of corporate governance? Now, letter B ang sagot. Yan yung sa revised code. Pero remember lang guys, okay, meron pa tayong ganito. Okay, meron tayong ganito. Alright? The revised code of corporate governance requires ito yung 2. Ito yung sinasabi. Now ito, pag publicly listed, ito po yung isang code na recently issued, hindi man recent, pero issued subsequently. Tingnan niyo po yung difference. At least 3 na po. Okay, at least 3. Tapos dapat, yung 3 na yon should constitute at least 1/3 of the board, whichever is higher. Okay? So please, take a look ha. Corporate governance in general, minimum of 2 directors, independent. Pero kapag for publicly listed companies, at least 3, which should constitute at least 1/3. Okay? Bakit natin hina-highlight yan? Kasi tingnan mo po yung pangatlo. For public companies and registered issuers, ito naman, public companies, ito yung 50, 200, 100. Registered issuers, yan yung nag-issue ng securities to the public. Tingnan nyo po yung requirements sa kanila. At least 2 independent directors or 1/3, whichever is higher. So magkakaiba. Okay, magkakaiba ha? So, inahin mo na lang to, inote mo na lang to, para alam mo kung alin yung gagamitin. Again, revised code of corporate governance, generally speaking yan, pero kapag publicly listed company ka, 3 or 1/3. Kapag naman ikaw ay public company, tapos registered issuer, at least 2, at least 1/3. So please take note of those distinctions. Alright? Sige. Next. Alright, next. Diba? Yeah. Which of the following? Okay, which of the following is a ground for temporary disqualification? So ito naman guys, halos pare-pareho naman yung laman nito. Temporary ha, so ibig sabihin yung iba ay permanent. Okay, absence for any 12-month period during your incumbent. Okay, ano yung 12-month period? Ibig sabihin, isang buong taon ka hindi hindi ka pumunta sa meeting. Okay, absent ka. Alright? Sige. So temporary guys, the other one, permanent ha. Next. What is the minimum composition of the audit committee of a corporation? Alright? Now, the answer here guys is letter A. Okay, audit committee. Okay, preferably have accounting and finance backgrounds, one of whom shall be an independent director and the other with audit expertise. Alright? So at least 3 directors. Now, again, may ipapanote lang ako sa inyo. Okay, kasi again, 3 na po kasi yung codes of corporate governance natin. Alright? Again, yung corporate governance in general, corporate governance for publicly listed, tas corporate governance for public companies and registered issuers. Tingnan nyo na lang po yung mga distinction. Alright? So, remember ha, pakinote na lang po ito yung mga difference nila. Alright? Bakit po natin nilalagay? Kasi at present, 3 po ang codes of corporate governance. Alright? Sige. Now, tingnan nyo po yung last sentence. The chair of the audit shall be an independent director. Right? Now, tingnan nyo po yung huli dito. The chair should not be the chairman of the board or any other committee. Alright? So, similar na siya. Okay? Sige. Next. To whom shall the compliance officer report directly? Okay? To whom? Kanino daw? Yung compliance officer. Okay? To whom? Again, compliance officer guys, normally yan ay yung corporate secretary na rin for the smaller corporations. Pero, if you fall under the code of corporate governance, ideally po, magkahiwalay na tao yon. Alright? Now, under the revised corporation code, yung compliance officer, meron lang kapag CVPI ka. Okay? So, kapag ikaw ay covered ng code of corporate governance, kanina nag-report yan? Chairman or sa chairperson. Okay? Now, may papanote ako uli. Okay? Note lang. Again, dahil 3 na po yung codes of corporate governance natin, what happened? Take a look. Ito po yung una ha. Ito yung una. Okay? Ito yung una. Okay? Report directly to the chair. Tingnan nyo po yung para sa publicly listed. Okay? Similar to, primarily responsible to the corporation and its shareholders. And tingnan nyo po, not to the chairman, not to the president. So, hindi siya doon nagre-report. Okay? Doon po sa lumang code, magre-report ka directly to the chair. Pero ngayon, pag publicly listed company, the compliance officer should not, okay, is not liable to the chair or the president. So, hindi siya doon nagre-report. Okay? Doon siya sa board mismo. Okay? Primarily responsible. Next, ganun din itong bago. Alright? Okay, nandito ha. Again, pakinote po yung distinction. Okay, pakinote yung distinction. Ito po yung dito po based yung question natin. Pero take note lang na mayroong publicly listed companies na a code of corporate governance for publicly listed, may code of corporate governance para sa public companies and registered issuers. Pakinote po yung distinction. Alright? Sige. What is the period for submission or filing with the SEC, yung financial statements mo, kapag ikaw ay other than December 31? Okay, other than December 31. So, ano ka fiscal year ka? Okay? It is 120 days. Okay? 120 calendar. Okay, calendar po calendar. Okay, from the end of your fiscal year. All right? Now, ingat ka lang, okay, kasi that is yung generic, okay, generic na filing dates. Okay, pero kapag ikaw ay public company, okay, or registered issuer, okay? So, public company, you're listed on an exchange, or you are a registered issuer, okay? Ang AFS filing mo ay after 105 days from the end of your fiscal year. Okay, again, generally, okay, you file your audited financial statement with the SEC within 120 calendar days at the end of your fiscal year. Generally, ganun. However, under the Securities Regulation Code, okay, under the Securities Regulation Code, if you are a listed company, you are a registered issuer, or you are considered a public company, you have to file your audited financial statement within 105 days after the end of your fiscal year. Okay? Again so ito po yung question na nandito sa screen nyo ngayon, that is in general. However, under the SRC, you are a listed company, you are a registered issuer, or you are a public company, you file your AFS within 105 calendar days from the end of your fiscal year. Okay? Paki-note na lang. Okay, which of the following is not considered a security under the Securities Regulation Code? Okay, again guys, ito, listahan lang yon, section, Okay? This one is the definition naman. This is under section 3 of the SRC. Alright? So, alin doon hindi? Ito. Okay, deed of sale. Wala yan doon. Alright? Refers to a person who acts as intermediary in making deliveries upon payment to effect settlement of securities transaction. Ito guys, again, definition of terms na lang. This is a clearing agency. Alright? Clearing. So, it is an intermediary for settlement. Alright? So, hindi kayo nagkakaliwaan. Yung buyers and sellers, hindi nagkakaliwaan yan. Alright? Your transactions go on an exchange. Pero, hindi rin sa exchange nangyayari yung clearing. Meron pang isang entity, doon po nangyayari yung securities clearing. Alright? So, iba po ito sa exchange Okay? Ikaw, ang interaction mo lang bilang buyer or seller of securities sa exchange. Pero yung settlement, meaning yung pag-transfer ng pera at saka pag-transfer ng shares themselves, okay, sa clearing agency po yun. Alright? Sige. Next. Refer to contracts which provide for the performance of future services or the payment of future monetary considerations at the time of actual need, for which plan holders pay in cash or installments at stated prices, with or without interest, for insurance coverage, which includes life, pension, education, interment, and other plans, which the Commission may may from time to time approve. Alright? Yan po ay pre-need. However, okay, pre-need pa, just get with the definition. Now, ingat lang po, this one, yung commission dito, yung commission na sinasabi dito, this is not the Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay? Originally, sa SEC talaga. However, subsequent to the Securities Regulation Code, pagkatapos maipasa nito, nagpasa sila ng iba pang batas. That is called your pre-need code. Yung pre-need code po, nilipat from SEC, papunta saan? Papunta sa Insurance Commission. So, at present, ngayon po, wala na pong kapangyarihan yung SEC over these types of contracts, yung mga pre-need. Sino na pong namamahala dyan? Ang namamahala na sa pre-need plans ay Insurance Commission. Alright? Sige. Next, it refers to the application for registration of securities required to be filed with the SEC before these securities can be allowed to be sold or offered for sale or distributed within the SEC. Ang tawag po dyan, registration statement. Alright? And finally, okay, which of the following is exempted from registration before the Securities and Exchange Commission? Now guys, alright, the answer there is letter D. Yung exempt securities ay, of course, those listahan po yan. That is part of section 9 or section 10. So remember the rule is registration of securities is a requirement. That is section 8. Unless you can point to an exception. Where are those exceptions found? Either the securities themselves are exempt, section 9, or the transactions are exempt under section 10. Listahan po ang mga yon. We need to familiarize ourselves with the content of the list. Alright? Sige. So that's it for your pre-week, guys. Good luck. And konting tiis na lang, konting panahon na lang, CPA na kayo. Alright? Sige. Get some rest and finish talk.